National Broadcasting Company presents the National Football League. Today from Texas Stadium, it's the Seattle Seahawks versus the Dallas Cowboys. This special Thanksgiving Day game is brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. By Mercedes-Benz, engineered like no other car in the world. And by Sears. Come celebrate Sears' new century. See all the ways we've changed and all the ways we haven't.
A beautiful Thanksgiving in Texas, sunny and 50 degrees, and a sellout crowd, 64,000 to see the Dallas Cowboys and Seattle Seahawks in the annual Thanksgiving feast here in Texas. And it's been all of that, Merlin Olsen, 6 straight times. Dallas has won this game, and 9 of the last 10. And 10, that's 10 years for us. Happy
It's an anniversary for us, Dick. I think if we'd have been a couple of turkeys, we wouldn't have survived this long.
Think we are.
And we wouldn't have an opportunity to share this day with so many nice people all across this country.
Indeed. Happy Thanksgiving, and we're pleased to share our broadcast time today with the All-Pro quarterback from the Miami Dolphins, Bob Greasy. You know, it's dreaming time for the Dallas Cowboys, and they have their dream backfield set to start today.
Well, any quarterback would have to be dreaming to have Dorsett and Walker in the same backfield. The move was made to get more big plays into the offense and try to take some of the pressure off of Steve Pallure. You know, Merlin and I have played in several Thanksgiving Day games, and it seems like it's always a short week. The players are always sore and banged up. The best team doesn't always win. I think the key to today's game is attitude. The team that plays the best mentally will usually win the game.
Sometimes the best attitude goes with a team that plays at home. Seattle has struggled of late.
Well, Seattle, you talk about dreams. Theirs is a season, at least a late season, of fractured dreams and shattered dreams. Their best start ever. They started off hot. Key injuries, Kenny Easley, Blair Bush, Jeff Bryant, helped them into a tailspin. They lost 4 in a row, and although they bailed themselves out with a win against Philadelphia last week, wasn't pretty. They just put it in the W column and walked away.
Cowboys are favored by more than a touchdown. What does Seattle do?
Well, I sat in many locker rooms looking at Chuck Knox when we were underdogs. I know what he's telling Seattle. He's saying, we've just got to find a way to win. Last week, they did that with special teams against the Philadelphia Eagles. They lined up in a punt situation, in on John Telchik, carried Justin, 26, right off the punter's foot. And then it's scooped up by Eric Lane and Terry Taylor and carried in tandem across the goal line.
Yeah, like a couple of marathon runners completing their 26-plus mile run hand in hand. And now we're set to go. The Seahawks in blue. The Cowboys will receive to open this Thanksgiving special. Each team still with hopes for a wild card playoff spot. Dallas obviously in better position at 7-5. Norm Johnson skids it down. Robert Levette returns to the 22-yard line. Seahawks always tough on kick coverage. Here comes Steve Pallure, the young quarterback from the University of Washington, for the injured Danny White, Tuanay, Titensor, Rafferty, Kerr, and Cooper, the offensive line. And that Tony Hill, second to Drew Pearson, and catches on one wide out. Sherrard, the rookie, gets his first start with Doug Cosby, the tight end. And the Heisman dream backfield of Walker and Dorsett behind Pallure. First time they've started together, they've been in the same backfield, but usually one used as a wing or a motion man. And it's Dorsett. Caught at the line of scrimmage, and he's dropped for a loss. Greg Gaines, number 56, the linebacker, spearheaded the charge for the Hawks, and here they are, the starting defensive unit. Edwards for the injured Jeff Bryant. Kinlaw, the veteran former Raider, on the nose. Jacob Green has 11 sacks to lead the Seattle team. Gaines, Butler, Young, and Schultz, the linebackers. The veteran Dave Brown at one corner. Tony Taylor, he's nicked at the other. Robinson and Moyer. Moyer for the irreplaceable Kenny Easley at safety.
You carry.
Pallure screens it to Dorsett. And Dorsett is out to the 35 with a first down. Paul Moyer made the tackle. And let's check that defense. Kerry Justin, 26, does start for Terry Taylor at the left corner.
Pickett talking to Tom Catlin, the defensive coordinator for Seattle, just before the game. He said, the one thing that scares me most about this Dallas team, they're the best screening team I have ever seen, with an explosive back like Dorsett on one side, and they can put a double screen in there and put Walker out on the other side.
Here's Walker, his first carry, and he's out to the 38, a gain of 3. Herschel Walker playing on a bum knee and ankle in the last 3 games. Well, you can see has rushed for only 25 yards. He often gets that. Many just going from the bedroom out to have breakfast, and he's due to break some big ones. He says he's healthier than he's been in a month. Detroit beat Green Bay earlier 40-37 in a scoring fest at Pontiac, and we welcome those of you who enjoyed that game to the second half of our Thanksgiving doubleheader, a national doubleheader. Doug Cosby in motion. On 2nd and 7, Dorsett struggling to a first down, it would appear, as he drives out to the 45-yard line. Reggie Kinlaw made the tackle. Chuck Knox told us yesterday, Merlin Olsen, that he was not happy with the way his team has been tackling of late, and they don't seem to be hitting all that well early today.
Well, both coaches talked very specifically about their defenses missing a lot of tackles last week. You watch the action inside, you'll see that there are a couple of chances early to get an arm on Dorsett, but you've got to wrap Dorsett up, and you in particular have to wrap Walker up. They're not easy to tackle.
First down, Dallas. Screen to Walker. And he's cut down on a good open field tackle by Bruce Schultz, who played his football down at Austin, University of Texas. Chuck Knox, 33 years he has coached the game of football. This is his 3rd NFL team, and taken all 3 to the playoffs, and he can coach and officiate at the same time.
Well, I tell you, one thing you know about Knox, and it's a real transition. You start with Landry, who very seldom will show you his emotions. Knox always lets you know exactly where he is.
At the 50, it'll be 3rd down and 5.
Now, I mentioned the screen pass. We've seen 3 here in this first series of plays. 2 to Herschel Walker and 1 to Dorsett. The Seahawks did a pretty good job of shutting that one down, and a chance now perhaps to get some pressure on Pallur.
Tom Landry, an institution, 27th year. He has, many of his players are not 27 years old. He's been coaching the Cowboys for 27. Pallur out of the shotgun. Cosby, first down at the 44 of Seattle. Doug Cosby, he's been the forgotten man in the Cowboy offense. Pro Bowler the last 3 years.
You have to know that Tom Landry did a lot of agonizing during this short week. And I'm sure one of the things that's going through his head is, how can I use the talents of my players more effectively? Cosby is one of those talents that he needs to put in there.
We understand that was not a final in Detroit. We apologize for that. Green Bay leading Detroit by 4, and they're still playing in a marathon game in the 4th quarter. 2nd down play offers nothing on first down. 2nd and 10 is Schultz again in on the tackle for Seattle. Herschel Walker goes out of the lineup, and Timmy Newsome in for Dallas. Sherrard, the speedster, rookie from UCLA, number 1 pick, is wide to the left. He was featured, of course, Bill McAtee on that NFL 86 program. Play action by Pallur. Throws to Newsome. Good tackle by 41 Eugene Robinson, free agent out of Colgate, where he was a computer science major. A heady player is Robinson. Gain of 1 at best, Merlin, 3rd and 9.
Dick, we had a chance to watch Seattle earlier in the year on several occasions, and at that time they were ranked among the top teams defensively in the league. Right now they've slipped to 25th defensively in total ranking in the league.
Cowboys had little luck doing anything against the Redskins last Sunday. Pelor is 5 for 5 on this opening drive, and he needs 9 for a first down. And he gets it on the scramble. Patrick Hunter, 23, finally downed him at the 34-yard line. Well, he may not have gotten it. They, of course, spot the ball where the ball is when he slides, not where he first touches the ground, and he may not have gotten it.
Out of the shotgun, or the spread as they call it here in Dallas, Pelor back does not waste any time, sees an opening. He's a good runner, and he's quickly upfield, but he is bruised with a hip and an ankle problem. Landry took him out of the game to try and save his health a little bit last week, but he's still ailing late into this week.
And it is not the first down. 4th and inches. Danny White, the starting quarterback at the beginning of the year, with his fractured right wrist, sending in the signals to Pelor. They'll not go for the field goal.
There's not much to pick up by the punt here, unless you really get a good one angled out of bounds. Landry with an early gamble. Let's see how it works out.
It would be about a 52-yard field goal, so they're going to go for more than 3. Newsom, first down. Timmy Newsom, who has not gotten his number called much of late, gets a critical 4th down play and a first down at the 31. That's 4 straight first downs for the Cowboys after taking the opening kickoff. And now the final from Detroit, and quite a game, 44-40, the Packers.
One of those defensive struggles, Dick.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens here at Irving. Dorsett looking for some blocking help. There is none. He's dropped for a loss at the 31-yard line. Randy Edwards.
Dick, sometimes there is no easy way to make the play. Dave Brown, number 22, is not a very big cornerback. He came up on that play, saw there was nowhere to go, and just threw his body into Glenn Titensor, the lead guard, blocked him down, knocked him down. Watch the end of this play. You see that play right there as Brown just throws himself in front of Walker, and there's nowhere for Dorsett to go. An outstanding play in there as Brown able to take down 2 people.
Randy Edwards finished the job. Jim Cooper, a sprained knee, and Phil Posderick has replaced him at tackle. There's that screen again, but it's too low, and all Walker can do is roll forward for about a yard to the 26-yard line, where it'll be 3rd down. Fred Young and Gregory Johnson there for Seattle. Fred Young, a Dallas native. He said, I asked him if he were a Cowboy fan growing up. He said, rabid. He said, and my favorite man wasn't Roger Staubach. Rayfield Wright was the man that I like most. In fact, he was a neighbor.
He's the most talented of those linebackers physically. They'd love it a little more in Seattle if he'd spend more time in the books, but a great natural athlete.
3rd and 5. On a blitz, they can't get to Pelor. 20. And down to the 16, but a flag is down, and we may have holding. No, it's Seattle. A personal foul. They hit Pelor in the face mask.
You can't hit a quarterback to the head, and it looked like one of the Seahawks broke free and put a hand to the head on that play.
Personal foul, number 72 defense, unnecessary roughness, going to the quarterback's head. Enforced from the end of the run.
You'll see Pelor, and Nash will come from his left, from our right, and there's the shot. Just the banging of the head backwards. Pelor doing a good job of getting out of there to pick up some yardage. Of course, that penalty designed to protect the player, and you're not allowed to hit any player to the head. And Knox on the sideline absolutely livid, but I think if he had seen what we just saw, he would agree with the call.
They marked the penalty inside the 10-yard line. 1st and goal at the 8.5. Pelor, with that scramble, is now over 200 yards rushing the football. The number 3 runner for Dallas. And the Cowboys dominating this first quarter with this long drive. that started back just at their own 22. Dorsett, big hole, touchdown.
The Dallas Cowboys were eager to get on the field after embarrassing themselves against the Redskins last week. The best thing for them was to play, if they could, on Monday. They wanted to get out there as fast as they could. And taking the first ball, taking the first drive all the way down will help to erase some of that pain that they've experienced during this week.
Using only a couple of short passes, basically on the ground. Now Septien for the point after. 7-0 Dallas. A 78-yard drive in 15 plays that consumed over 9 minutes. So the Cowboys off to a fast start.
A century ago, the founders of Mercedes-Benz created the world's first automobiles. Over the years, their mastery of technology and intolerance for mediocrity inspired countless automotive legends. Now, as Mercedes-Benz enters its second century, the technology has changed, yet the passion for perfection remains, creating Mercedes-Benz for 1987, legends for the second century.
Give me a light.
That's not correct, Steve. Don't just ask for a light beer.
Come on, give me a light.
You asked for it, Steve. Yes, Steve. Bud Light, the light beer with the first name and taste.
Don't just ask for a light.
Bud Light, because everything else is just a light, Steve.
Holidays.
During Sears 2-day holiday kickoff, doors open early at 8 a.m. with exciting values and gift ideas throughout the entire store. Something special like this touch control Kenmore microwave for fast cooking, now only $149.99. Or the Hamilton Beach Emmy food processor. Compact, powerful, and versatile. Our lowest price of the year, only $29.99. Hurry, on sale now.
There's more for your life.
Opens at 8 a.m.
At Sears.
Tony Dorsett's 8-yard run giving Dallas a 7-0 lead, and with the run, Dorsett moved into the number 2 spot in all-time NFL history total yards. Walter Payton by himself in his own league. Then Dorsett with the 8 yards, that pushing him past Franco Harris, the former runner-up. Bobby Joe Edmonds and Randall Morris are deep for Seattle as Septien kicks toward Morris at the 6. He has a gap at the 20, and out to the 35-yard line goes Randall Morris, Darrell Clack, and Bill Bates. Bates got him first. Dave Craig brings his offense on the field.
And Dick, we talked about it in the opening. Here's Herschel Walker. Watch the block he throws on Fred Young as Dorsett follows his backfield mate right through the hole on the draw. Beautiful blocking in the offensive line. Not only do they run and catch well, but they also block for each other.
From the 34, Seattle's first chance on offense. And it's John L. Williams gets the call. Out to the 40-yard line, a pickup of 6. Williams, the number 1 pick, rookie from the University of Florida. There's the offensive line for Seattle. Wilson, Millard, Grant for the injured Blair Bush, Bailey and Mattis. Largent trying to continue his all-time string with Tice the tight end and Turner, Warner, and Williams behind quarterback Dave Craig. Kurt Warner plowing close to a first down at the 44. Warner, the number 1 rusher in the AFC, starting today with 958 yards on the ground, number 5 in the NFL. Defensively, Dallas, those are all number 1 picks on the front wall. Jones, Dutton, White, and Jeffcoat. Hegman and Rohr, the outside backers, with a hitting machine. Lockhart, the middle man. Walls and Fellows at the corners. Downs and Bates at safety. Downs playing hurt. The measurement, first down, Seattle.
Dick, if you give Chuck Knox his way, he'd love to keep the game on the ground all afternoon. With Dallas coming out and a strong emphasis on the running game, Knox is going to come back the same way. He started the game that way, and he's got 2 tight ends in there. Now takes one out and goes to 2 wide receivers.
On the ground, Williams breaks out of a tackle, Randy White, and White finally able to drag him down at the 50-yard line as Williams plows for 6 more on first down. Yes, ground chuck is his favorite order.
Well, he would love to do that. In talking to him, he said, I don't think we're strong enough right now. We're not playing solid defense. We have a good running game, but he said, we're going to have to test Dallas deep today. We're going to have to try and beat them with some big passes. And of course, right now, the running game is going. He'll stick with it, but don't be surprised to see him take that long shot here in the early going.
A couple of tight ends in there now with Largent, the only wide man to the right. Warner, nothing there. Too Tall Jones, now 35 years of age, from Tennessee State, made the tackle, and Warner
is still on the ground. Leveled on that last play, and already with 3 of their most important starters on injured reserve, the last thing in the world you need is to lose your main man offensively, and that is, of course, Kurt Warner.
So a timeout as they attend to the top rusher for the Seahawks and the best in this league, or in the American Football Conference, Kurt Warner.
It began as a new way of thinking about the relationship between the automobile and the road. It evolved into an automotive suspension system like none before. The Mercedes-Benz Multi-Link Independent Rear Suspension System. 5 individual links per wheel precisely interacting to achieve handling stability as never before. Helping to make the 300 class the most technologically advanced automobiles in Mercedes-Benz history.
To know no boundaries, to let yourself run free. To know no boundaries is what the world should be.
Wherever there are investment opportunities, Merrill Lynch is there with the help you need to make the most of them. Because at Merrill Lynch, we believe your world should know no boundaries.
To know no boundaries.
Welcome to the Silver Bullet, home of a cold Coors Light.
Jimbo, yo, where's Nadine tonight?
They're probably sitting by the phone waiting for yours truly. Give me a Coors Light, will you, sweet thing?
You guys have a little love spat?
Nah, man's got to have some space. Gotta show these women who's boss. Gotta zig when they zag. Hey, I know it's brutal, but man's got it too. But Nadine.
Yo. Oh, she looks miserable.
Yeah.
No slowing down with the Silver Bullet tonight.
Searching here for predictions and there for analysis? Oh, the dilemma of choosing the right pregame show. We at NBC Sports suggest you give as much thought to choosing a pregame show as you did when saying I do. Possibly more. NFL 86, the one you'll choose.
Dallas made a couple of third downs and a fourth down conversion on its touchdown drive. Now it's third and long 4 for Craig, his first pass. And he's going long for Franklin. Byron Franklin, first down at the 24-yard line. A 24-yard pass from Craig.
That's a confidence builder for Craig as he puts 4 wide receivers downfield, and out of the shotgun catches Franklin. You see him starting to the inside, coming back now, breaking quickly upfield, and now he'll take a little dip to the inside and then fall to the outside. That ball waiting there for him. Johnny Holloway, number 23, trying to follow all those maneuvers, couldn't keep up with Franklin. Big first down.
Looking for Turner, and Darrell Turner has a first down at the 13-yard line. Ron Fellows, the defender.
Well, they've gotten one into Franklin. They come right back to number 81, Darrell Turner, who's been in and out of Chuck Knox's doghouse during this season. You see Craig, who has him all the way, just waits for the break and then puts the quick shot in there to him. He got Fellows to turn around, looking toward that goal line, and then got him back into the first down area.
2 minutes minutes and 10 seconds left. First quarter. Seattle trying to tie it up. John L. Williams showing his leg strength as he just carries number 50, Jeff Rohr, on his back for a couple of extra yards. And we'll see where they spot it at the 10-yard line.
I talked to Dave Craig before the game about this roller coaster emotional season for him after that big loss to the Denver Broncos. A chance for Seattle to get itself with a tie of the AFC West. He said he was pulled from the lineup for a couple of weeks. Knox has him back in there now, and he's off to a good start here today.
Motion, 135 consecutive games with a catch. Underneath, however, to the 6-yard line, short of a first down, it's Franklin again. Byron Franklin, former Buffalo number 2 draft pick and acquired from the Bills last year for tight end Pete Metzelaars.
One thing we know about Dave Craig, Dick, and we've seen him in a lot of games where he's been either very, very good or very, very bad. He's a streak thrower, and he's off to a hot streak right now. That's not good news for the Dallas Cowboys.
Craig 3 for 3 on this drive and 41 yards. Third down and 4. Draw, and Craig has a touchdown. And the few Seahawk fans have a chance to cheer here at Texas Stadium as Craig uses the quarterback draw, and it works beautifully.
Well, turnabout is fair play. It was a draw play at the other end. Dorsett on the draw, taking it in. No question about this at all. Just one quick step to set it up, and then right upfield. Craig doing a good job of running. Look at him dive for that end zone. It's the way you want to do it. You take one in to match theirs.
Norm Johnson to try the point after. And both teams score on their first possession, and it consumes almost the entire first quarter. We have 41 seconds remaining, and Dave Craig's draw touchdown has tied Dallas 7-7.
The legendary Mercedes-Benz SL Coupe Roadster. To every reason you ever had for wanting to drive it, you can now add one more. A mighty 5.6-liter light alloy V8 engine. 227 horsepower. Infinite driving excitement. The Mercedes-Benz 560 SL.
Who has transformed video cameras, making them more compact, simpler, more colorful, more fun? Who? RCA, with the new Pro Wonder camcorder, the camera and recorder that uses standard VHS cassettes plus solid-state technology for brighter, more colorful memories. Pro Wonder. If you settle for less than RCA, that's exactly what you'll get.
You've heard that the people of Manville are striving to be America's best supplier. Of what? Of products like the filtration material that Manville makes, that makes beverages clear and safe. And highly advanced roofing systems that really keep the water out. And Manville fiberglass air ducts for energy-saving heating and cooling. 21,000 people with one goal: to be America's best supplier of products like these. That's Manville.
I'm Hulk Hogan, and I want you to know that not even Hercules can make an impression on these 24-inch pythons, and I'm going to prove it on Saturday night's main event.
Seattle Seahawks take it 66 yards in 9 plays on their first possession to tie it, and here's Norm Johnson to kick it off. Darryl Clack, the rookie from Arizona State, having trouble. Seattle had a great shot at it, but it got away. I believe Dallas recovered. No official signal yet by Bob McElway. Yes, it belongs to the Cowboys. 4 or 5 blue jerseys were right there.
Deja vu for the Cowboys. That's the way they started last week's game against the Washington Redskins with a Clack fumble. It ended up, of course, later on in a touchdown for the Redskins, but Clack just taking his eye off that ball, and they are so lucky to get it. You just got to cover that ball at that point, right through the legs of Greg Johnson, number 27. A couple of other Seahawks had a chance. It was finally Merriman had a chance, Moyer had a chance, but the Cowboys get it back.
First down at their own 10-yard line. That would have been a big break for the Seahawks. 30 seconds left, first quarter. Walker to the 14-yard line, and that's not the kind of power running we saw from Herschel Walker earlier in the year. Shows that he isn't totally 100% healthy.
He took a helmet to his ankle earlier in the season. He said it wasn't really a sprain. He just caught that helmet full into the ankle. It kind of drove his foot along the ground. Been heavily bruised. He has tried to go. He's a young man who wants to play. In fact, you ask him, are you healthy? I'm ready. I'm 100%. But you can see there, he's not really 100%.
A very rapidly played first quarter here at Texas Stadium. The Cowboys have 7, and so do the Seahawks.
Plymouth shows America why the pride is back. Introducing Plymouth Sundance.
The pride is back.
Sundance, the unbelievable American under $7,800. Everything you thought came only in an import is now born in America. Sundance, the best value of any car in its class. $550 protection plan. Plymouth Sundance, the unbelievable American under $7,800.
The pride is back. Born in America.
Hi, I'm Reggie McKenzie, and this is the Pacific Northwest, home of the Seattle Seahawks. I've been told once you met me, you'll never forget me. That's me, number 67. We used to cut loose with the juice, Mr. O.J. Simpson. I played 13 years in the National Football League, and the last 2 seasons here in Seattle. And today, I'm working in the front office with the Seattle Seahawks, and I'm part of their management team. Being part of the NFL also gave me one of my greatest claims to fame.
Way back in 1974, I was chosen to make the first NFL United Way public service spot. And I'm still a United Way volunteer.
Helping the handicapped here at the Seattle YWCA. The United Way has been around over 100 years, and it's still the best way to give, to care, to help. And I can still say, thanks to you, it works for all of us, the United Way.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
7-all, Dallas and Seattle. Merlin Olsen, as you reflect on your days when you watched this game after a Rams practice, then you went home and you had your fill.
You go home and have Thanksgiving dinner, and coaches always worry about that a little bit. In fact, one year, George Allen was our coach. We weighed in on Thursday, threw a surprise weigh-in on Friday. We had some guys who gained 12, 10, 14 pounds.
Come on, that much in
absolutely
one day?
true in one day.
Pallure to Walker, and Walker tripped up at the 22-yard line. The official first half statistics, as Walker has the Cowboys in first down position again.
You see the rushing yardage very healthy for both sides, and passing yardage almost equal. Certainly, when you can take the ball and take it all the way down the field and score, you can't complain much on the offensive side, Dick, and both teams have done it.
And now the Cowboys, after flirting with trouble on Clack's kickoff fumble, have a first down across their 20. Pallure. Secondary receiver. That's his first catch of the day, and 16 yards. Gerard is from Chico, California. He's had his mother watching up there, a former 1964 U.S. Olympian.
One of the things that has to help Steve Pallure today is that with the injuries to this Seahawk defense, they're not able to put the pressure on the quarterback. In fact, they've had troubles all year pressuring the quarterback, even though they got 9 sacks last week. And Pallure has been sacked 16 times the past 2 weeks. They haven't gotten closer today.
Walker, somewhat gingerly, and then driving out to the 43-yard line. Keith Butler and company in on the tackle. 79 is Jacob Breen from Texas A&M, the defensive left end, who is the top sack master of the Seahawks again this year with 11, among the league leaders.
It Strange that so many of those sacks have come in 2 games. They got 7 against the Giants and 9 last week against Philadelphia. In fact, they have been called bag ladies or sad sacks at times during the season, Dick. Not very complimentary. I wouldn't call them that.
Walker close to a first down. Young turned the play in and got a little piece of Walker.
Because of the defensive style of this Seahawk team, it's a pure zone team on first and second downs, on running downs. Pelor should have a little more time and should be a little bit more comfortable back there. He has had real pressure when you've been able to get somebody up in his face and make him make a decision very quickly. When you've got to go back there with a second to decide whether you're going to throw it, unload it, or run, that's awfully tough pressure for a young quarterback. You can't get much better than that, though. 8 for 8 so far in this game.
3rd and 1. A 7-all tie, early second quarter here in Texas Stadium. Dorsett, he didn't make it. Stacked up well as the Seahawks converge to the ball. We understand we had a long-distance call from Los Angeles, California, from one Jim Brown, who said, "Remember me?"
Don't forget me in
there.
Don't
push me out of there. I'm still number 2. And Dorsett has 800 yards or so before he passes the great former Cleveland Brown, Hall of Famer.
I can tell you, I remember those guys having a chance to play against both Brown and, of course, against Peyton as well. Chance to take a look at them up close and personal.
He did not make it, so 4th down, Dallas. And Tom Landry is not in the mood to gamble in his own territory. For Seattle, perhaps best in the last 4 or 5 years in the entire NFL at blocking kicks. They have 4 this year. That's 1 shy of the NFL record for a season.
And all 4 have ended up in touchdowns for them.
Including one last week, as you saw, against Philadelphia. Mike Saxon averaging just under 41 a kick. Bobby Joe Edmonds turned one 75 yards for a score against Philadelphia in their win last Sunday. Now they give that kicker a lot to think about, both in having one block and return for a score. This is the return. Fair catch, Edmonds. Whoa, lets it bounce, and it hits a Cowboy at the 20, Steve Diassi. And Seattle will take over at the 22-yard line. A timeout, 11 minutes, 42 seconds remaining in the second quarter. Thanksgiving from Dallas, Texas.
Fire Brewing. It's more than a way to make Stroh's and Stroh Light. It's a family tradition, passed down from one generation to another for over 200 years. It's what guarantees that smooth, consistent taste for generations to come.
Now you're talking Stroh's. Now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times. And Stroh's is spoken here.
The time, right now. The place, your Mazda dealers. The event, Goodbye 86. We're saying goodbye with goodbyes on all our 87s, 323s, 626s, even our X7s. And right now, special factory cash incentives can save you hundreds on 87 B2000 trucks. Buy now while sales tax is still deductible. But hurry, the end is almost here. So visit your Mazda dealer for a goodbye now. Don't let time run out.
Here's the purchase agreement for your Tandy computers. The training sounds great. Can we get it done in time?
Absolutely. The schedule we've designed for your people includes courses for each department with hands-on training and specialized software instruction.
And we'll be with you every step of the way. That's the kind of support and training we need.
Tandy Computers at Radio Shack Computer Centers. In business, for business.
Today's game is brought to you by Mazda Cars and Trucks. The more you look, the more you like Mazda value. By Stroh's and Stroh Light. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here. And by the U.S. Navy. Live the adventure.
Dick Henberg with Merlin Olsen and Bob Greasy. Welcome to our Thanksgiving special, the Cowboys and the Seahawks. It's tied at 7-all, 11:42 left, second quarter. Seattle, after a 30-yard punt by Saxon, begins at its 22. And it's Kurt Warner, shaken on the last possession, but apparently okay, and he's out of bounds at the 25-yard line. 40 points and lose? Well, that was the story elsewhere. Let's go to NFL 86.
You're right, Dick, and a happy Thanksgiving to you and Merlin Olsen. This was the scene, less than a minute to play at the Silverdome in Pontiac. The Lions lead by 3, and watch Walter Stanley, the Packer kick return man, with this whirling move. The punter, Jim Arnold, is wiped out by a late block. He goes 83 yards for his third touchdown of the day. The Packers upset the Lions 44-40.
Thank you, Bob. Second down and 7, and it's Kurt Warner slashing out to the 30-yard line. Everson Walls and Mike Hegman were the stop for Dallas. Warner 5th in the NFL with those numbers behind Eric Dickerson, Joe Morris, Walter Payton, and George Rogers. The top 4 have surpassed the 1,000-yard mark, and Warner working at it against the Cowboys today. Needed 42 going in. Bill Bates, the hitman in that deep secondary for the Cowboys. We'll keep our eye on him. 3rd and 3. There's Largent with a catch and a first down. No, it isn't Largent. It's Paul Scansey, a look-alike with an 82. Scansey from the University of Washington. Not as big as some of the receivers, not as fast. Along the Largent line, underneath to have the first down.
Well, he's cloned himself in the Largent fashion, learned from Steve, and has tried to pick up some of that pettiness and some of the great moves that Largent puts on you. And, of course, it showed up right there.
Here's Largent. Let's watch him. He's looking for a catch to extend his NFL record to 136 consecutive games with a reception. 7-all the score. Largent in motion. Play action. And incomplete as Randy White makes the play.
It figures that Randy White would be having a day today because he's got to be a little bit angry. During the week, the papers here reporting that Abe Gibron, who does the on-site scouting for the Seahawks, was in Washington last week, and one of the reporters here quoting him and say, "Where's Randy White? Where is Randy White? We haven't seen him all day. And where's John Dutton?" And of course, having that nailed into the papers in a week that has been so embarrassing for the Cowboys has to put you into a bit of a flurry and a bit of a rage. I don't think I'd want to be that reporter having both Randy White and Abe Gibron after me.
Kurt Warner out to the 49-yard line. Native of Pinefield, West Virginia, a town of around 1,000. And with help from a friendly teacher, found his way to Joe Paterno's camp at Penn State.
Talking to Warner about this artificial turf, he said, against a team like the Cowboys, who move so well laterally, and this defense, the defense that Landry has had here for so many years, is awfully tough to run against because it's a flowing defense. He said those holes don't stay open long. You've got to hit them quickly.
3rd and 2 at midfield. Shovel pass, and Warner breaks a tackle, and I believe with a second effort, gets the first down. Vince Albritton, who's playing for Michael Downs at a safety spot, he can play both linebacker and safety, made the hit, but Warner able to fight free for the first down.
This is almost the reverse of the option play to the outside. Craig trying to lead that defensive end. You see him right there, Too Tall Jones outside, and then flip it back inside. Able to pick up that first down, but only because Warner was able to get some good second effort out of it.
One of the advantages that forward flip is that if you drop it, it's not a fumble, it's an incomplete pass. Craig going long, and Largent is wide open. And Largent's first catch is a big one at the 11, and that would have been a sure touchdown had Craig not underthrown it. 136 in a row for Largent.
Watch Everson Walls. You talk about magic feet. Largent with just a little move there and left Everson Walls cold. And Largent does that so well. He will put you to sleep. He made a believer out of Walls. Watch the little move that he puts on there. Well, you see him here. He's already accelerated. And had that ball been thrown a little further, that's a touchdown.
Boy, he really sold Walls on an inside move. 37 yards and a first down as Seattle threatens to take the lead. Warner behind Williams' block, but right there was Eugene Lockhart, number 56.
Dick, that's an illustration of something that's happening to Dallas the last couple of weeks that they had not allowed earlier in the year. The big plays against the pass defense. Washington last week, 3 huge plays. One of them a touchdown to Didier, a couple of shots, one to Monk and one to Clark. And right now the Seahawks expanding on that same theorem, getting the ball deep to Largent here to get a scoring opportunity.
9th play of the drive coming up. Warner moves up as they anticipated a safety blitz. Craig guns it, touchdown Largent. Oh my, acrobatic Steve Largent.
It looked like Michael Downs wanted to sucker Craig into an audible. And then at the last second tried to change the defense. The ball snapped at that point, and I don't think the other defensive backs knew exactly what was happening. Walls, it looked like, just left his man Largent all alone, and there's the pass for the touchdown as Largent finds himself in the end zone.
The 84th career touchdown for Steve Largent out of Tulsa University, Oklahoma City. Norm Johnson adds the extra point. Let's take another look from another angle at the magic of Craig and Largent. 7 minutes and 4 seconds left in the first half, and that one is worth 6 big ones.
The time, right now. The event, Goodbye 86. The offer, Mazda's SE5 plus 5. It's the $69.95 SE5 plus $650 worth of extras at no extra charge from Mazda. You get a bed liner, mud guards, sliding rear window, floor mats, even an AM/FM stereo. A $650 value at no extra charge. So see your Mazda dealer for an SE5 plus 5 now. But hurry, the end is almost here. Don't let time run out.
The game that counts, the pressure mounts, the kickoff's almost here. All the way. Now you're talking football. Now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here.
Stroh's, fire brewed for smooth, consistent taste.
Now you're talking Stroh's. Now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here.
I think this bunch deserves a treat this weekend.
Yeah! We'll need extra cash.
No problem.
The Discover Card. Smart move.
Get cash at thousands of automatic teller machines.
And more.
With Discover Card checks.
Like this.
At largest Sears stores, coast to coast.
Get the most.
For cash 3 ways, this is the one.
Smart move. The Discover Card.
Great day.
Yeah, what are we doing tomorrow?
The Discover Card.
Sunday, the NFL plays here when the Steelers battle the Bears.
Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL 86.
Well, you can go ahead and reserve a spot in Canton, Ohio at the Pro Football Hall of Fame for that man, Steve Largent. He just keeps moving up into great names on the all-time receiving list, and we'll give you an example after the kickoff as Norm Johnson roots one deep. Clack had trouble the last one. 10. Oh, as he hammered at the 15-yard line. Tackle made by Michael Jackson, number 55. With that last touchdown catch, Largent moves ever closer to the number 3 spot all time. The immortal Don Hudson, number 1. Don Maynard, why isn't he in Canton, Ohio in the Hall of Fame? Lance Allworth and Paul Warfield just 1 ahead of Steve Largent. He'd win on What's My Line. You meet him in the lobby, you'd never guess that he is an all-time great pass catcher in the NFL. 14-7. Seattle, just under 7 minutes left in the half, and here comes another future Hall of Famer, Tony Dorsett. Bob Greasy.
Well, Merlin, you're right. There was some confusion in the backfield. Here's Downs. He was going to safety blitz. The back saw it, moved up to take him, and that leaves Walls out here on an island by himself as Craig checks to the slant and hits the future Hall of Famer with a touchdown, as you see Walls just trying to hang on.
And you can see Downs waving his arms, knowing that they were in trouble. Second down and 7 for Pallure. Dorsett. Oh, you think you want to be a defensive linebacker? That Schultz looked like he was in one of those revolving doors. They just kept spinning him as he tried to block the path of Dorsett.
Call that an egg beater. Boy, I tell you, they're all going out there. Dick, just to finish the thoughts on Largent said he's got so many family here. 47 tickets he bought for his family. And in the locker room just before the game, he's opening up his bag, and he said, can you tell that my wife packed this bag? He opened it up. I looked in there. He had some diapers in there on top of his bag. That shows you the other side of the man, too.
Well, he braids his the older daughter's hair before she goes to school. He's a complete man. Third down and 5. Newsome hit at the 29-yard line by Fred Young, and that will be short of a first down.
Now, we've talked about the athletic ability of Fred Young. It really earned his reputation as a special teamer, but watch him here reading quickly on Newsome. Newsome trying to get outside, and Young right there with him, but they still have good yardage on the play. Fourth down, was not able to get enough for the first down. That turns out to be a very big play by Fred Young.
Mike Saxon to kick to Bobby Joe Edmonds. Edmonds back at the 30. Seattle does not show block. Beautiful spiral. Edmonds has to come up to get it on the run at the 39, 50. And he's to the Dallas 46-yard line. The NFL's number 1 punt returner, Bobby Joe Edmonds, averaging over 14 a return, gets 15 on that one. It's Happy Thanksgiving from the Lone Star State with 4:31 remaining in the first half, and the Seahawks in front 14-7.
Snake River, Wyoming and Old Milwaukee both mean something great to these guys. The Snake River means fly fishing for lunker cutthroat trout, and Old Milwaukee means a great beer. Cold, crisp Old Milwaukee beer, and smooth, golden Old Milwaukee Light.
There's nothing like the flavor of a special place, and Old Milwaukee beer.
Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light.
Fellas, it just doesn't get any better than this.
The time, right now. The place, your Mazda dealers. The event, Goodbye 86. We're saying goodbye with goodbyes on all our 87s, 323s, 626s, even our X7s. And right now, special factory cash incentives can save you hundreds on 87 B2000 trucks. Buy now while sales tax is still deductible. But hurry, the end is almost here. So visit your Mazda dealer for a goodbye now. Don't let time run out.
There are many things that can influence your child at school. Some are obviously passing fancies, while others are just hard for the uninitiated to understand. But of all these influences, few are more positive than the Apple II, the computer that's used by more schools than any other. It's one influence parents even encourage at home.
Mom, going to practice. Mom?
But we warn you, like many things a kid can pick up in school, it can be contagious.
America's favorite pastime returns to NBC as the nation's top rollers battle it out for Bowler of the Year honors. Join Jay Randolph and Hall of Famer Earl Anthony for the PBA Fall Tour, Saturday on NBC.
Seattle with the ball and a touchdown lead. 4:31 left in the first half. And the Seahawks have the ball just inside the Dallas 47. For a bundle to Darrell Turner, and Everson Walls breaks it up. Walls, who 3 times the NFL leader in interceptions, no other player in the history of the game can make that claim. but burned earlier by Steve Largent.
And that's the kind of deep shot that we anticipated Seattle would be taking in this game. It paid off to Largent, almost paid off on that particular play.
Halftime, Jim McMahon, the wounded warrior with the Chicago Bears, will be part of NFL 86. Ahmad Rashad reflects on the man still regarded as the all-time Cowboy, Roger Staubach.
I remember him. Do I ever?
With fear. Second and 10, Warner. Twisting away from John Dutton, Bill Bates, and Eugene Lockhart finally made the tackle. Reminder, we'll be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player in today's game later in the second half.
As we talked to Tom Landry about the different personnel on this Seattle team, his comment about Warner was interesting. He said, makes you miss. And you saw it right there. That great lateral movement, good body control as Warner twisted away for what would have been a no-gainer to pick up good yardage.
Out of the shotgun. Third down, a long 4. Blitz. He got away from Downs, and that's Paul Scansey all the way to the 20. 21 yards, but give credit to Dave Craig. Michael Downs on a safety blitz. Couldn't get him.
Well, Craig buys this one, Dick, because Scansey's going to come down and break to the outside, and then he has enough time to circle back inside. Double blitz on the outside, and Craig beats it. As you see, Scansey, his route was out, sees it, comes back to the inside. A good block right there.
Good adjustment to a quarterback in trouble by the young receiver.
Looks like Howard Twilley and you, Bob. John L. Williams, the fullback, driving for about 5 on first down.
Perhaps as much as anything, the key to Dave Craig's problems on the season would lie in confidence, in his sometimes powerful confidence, and other days the inability to really feel the confidence in that throwing arm of his. Well, he has it today, and he had an interesting comment, Dick. I asked him about the season. He said, one of the things I appreciate most is Bob Greasy coming down to talk to me and say, hey, I've been benched before, too.
Second down and 5 at the 15. Warner hit in the backfield and dropped for a loss by too tall and too long Jones.
Using those long arms, just like a scythe or a sickle, you'll feel that you're there with him. Warner coming in behind the block, but look how quickly Jones is able to stunt to the inside and just whip those legs out from underneath that running back.
And that takes us to the 2-minute timeout here in the first half. Seattle threatening to add to the 14-7 lead.
To know no boundaries, to let yourself run free. To know no boundaries is what the world should be.
Whether you're investing for your future or your children's future, our financial consultants can show you more opportunities than ever before. Because at Merrill Lynch, we believe your world should know no boundaries.
To know no boundaries.
The time, right now. The event, Goodbye 86. The offer, Mazda's SE5 plus 5. It's the $69.95 SE5 plus $650 worth of extras at no extra charge from Mazda. You get a bed liner, mud guards, sliding rear windows, floor mats, even an AM/FM stereo. A $650 value at no extra charge. So see your Mazda dealer for an SE5 plus 5 now. But hurry, the end is almost here. Don't let time run out.
This is the time of year when we gather from far and near. And we welcome the season in and let all the love begin. And the jokes you tell and the songs you sing and the sight of your smile still means everything. And I finally get to say,
Hi, Mama.
I think of you every day. Happy holidays, Coors to you.
From the people at Coors.
This fall, NBC Sports has a November to remember when heart-pounding excitement returns to the greens, where one putt could be worth $450,000. Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Lee Trevino, and Fuzzy Zeller play the Skins Game. It's a November to remember on NBC.
Welcome to our new Thanksgiving daytime quiz show, Move Over Marino, starring Dave Craig and Steve Pallor. Look at those numbers, 8 for 10 for Craig.
Working against perfect. Craig is working against the #1 pass defense in the NFL.
Throwing only 46% on the year. He's going for a touchdown to Franklin. 10 for 10. Seattle's had the ball 3 times, have generated 3 long touchdown marches, and lead 20-7.
Manny Hendricks in there in the nickel package, and Hendricks just outrun to the corner. You'll have a chance to see it here. Franklin just flat out beat him, and that was a perfect strike by Dave Craig.
Franklin's second touchdown of the year, his 29th catch, and here's the try for point by Norm Johnson. 1 minute, 56 seconds left in the half, 21-7.
You look for the man with single coverage. Craig finds him right here, and Manny Hendricks unable to take him. You watch the double coverage on both guys underneath. Not so on the outside.
My new Olympus is the only autofocus SLR with a built-in flash. Like this. In case I want to shoot, like this.
The new Olympus OM77AF, the only autofocus SLR that does it all.
To reach for something bigger. To master a more challenging world. To feel the confidence and pride of knowing who you are, what you can do. Show the world your U.S. Navy. Live the adventure. Call 1-800-327-NAVY.
Time yet? Oh, it's not time, George.
The day after Thanksgiving sale at Kmart.
It's time, George. Time.
Everyone's getting up for the savings.
It's time.
The day after Thanksgiving sale starts at 7 a.m. at Kmart, the saving place.
I'm Bob Costas in New York. Coming up at halftime, we'll visit live with Jim McMahon, the Bears quarterback, from his home in Chicago. We'll talk about Thanksgiving Day at the McMahon household. There he is with daughter Ashley, and also about his future. He's likely to be out for the season. So we'll see you at halftime. Now let's go back to Dick and Merlin.
Well, we have an act alike here in the booth. Bob Greasy today. He and McMahon so much alike in personality. That'll be at halftime, so stay with us. Seattle surprisingly leads 21-7. Clack at the goal line. And he's out of bounds at the 25. And a flag is down. Could be that Seattle was offside. Reminder, NFL 86 halftime coming up. Offside the other way.
Well, you've got to have 5 men within a certain range of that kicker, and if they sneak out of that zone too quickly, the foul will go, or the penalty will go against Dallas.
Yeah, Chuck Knox has always felt his kickoff team can pinch the opposition in at the 15, so he's going to take
on the receiving team.
He's going to take the penalty.
For the 5-yard penalty.
Let's go back to Steve Largent. Although he didn't catch the last pass, he certainly was instrumental in the touchdown.
Franklin is the bottom receiver here, Dick. Now let's watch as we go downfield. If we can stop it right here, Largent is here. He gets double coverage. The other double coverage is inside. Now the man that catches it right here is Franklin. David Craig's had a tough year, but he certainly is having a good game here today.
And Everson Walls really had a choice, didn't he, as to which man to clamp onto at the last minute. I don't blame him for looking at Largent, and that's where he went. And Craig looked the other way and got the TD.
And Dave Craig is a perfect 10 for 10. Has rushed for 1 touchdown. Checked at 10 for 11. And actually, he's had 2 that he's missed. That's
10 for 12. There you go.
10 for 12, 2 touchdowns.
I know he's been hot. Not quite that hot, Vic.
That's right. Allure is the one that's been perfect. Yeah, Levette won't run this one out, so Seattle gains the 5 yards from the 25 back to the 20. Clack had returned the first one out to the 25.
What confidence in your kicking team. Most coaches would be happy at the 25, 26-yard line. Seattle says, heck no, we'll go get him again. We'll keep him inside the 20. I don't blame them for wanting to just take that and bring it out to the 20.
Dallas with plenty of time and all of its timeouts remaining, trailing 21-7.
And of course, this is a time you'd love to have your veteran quarterback, Danny White, on the field. Allure showing some real flashes of brilliance in this game, but experience will limit him against that nickel package.
Oh, that was almost intercepted by a lineman as Herschel Walker had to fight Randy Edwards for the ball.
Randy Edwards is playing with a neck injury. You see that wrap around his neck? Somebody grabbed his mask a couple of weeks ago and jerked his head, sprained his neck. He had to leave last week's game because of that, but he's in there today and did a fine job on that play.
2nd and 14, and Pallor is going to go down at the 5. Jacob Green has his 12th sack of the year. And now Seattle's going to call time, feeling that they've got Dallas in the hole, and they might have a chance to pick up an extra field goal or better before halftime.
Jacob Green from that left end position flying to the outside. That's Pozderic. Cooper out with a knee problem, and Pozderic unable to keep a hold of him, and hold is not a good word when you talk to Pozderic.
Now, that's the play. As you see, Seattle registered 9 sacks last week against the Eagles, a Seattle record. The way Pallor went down is the concern of every coach in the National Football League. The double penalty the quarterback gets, not only being tackled, but the way he slams to the hard artificial carpet. Well, Jim McMahon will be the guest of NFL 86 at halftime. And Ahmad Rashad's memories of Roger Staubach, the all-time Cowboy great and Heisman winner at the Naval Academy. And still, greatness surrounds the name Staubach when you talk to anybody in this part of the football country. Most sacks allowed. The Eagles have set an NFL record. Dallas now in 2nd place.
Already. That is going to be a real record before it's finished, I think.
22 seconds left in the half. Dorsett. 10, 15, 18-yard line. And Seattle will call time with 1:12 showing. They have a timeout left and will get the ball in pretty good field position to add to a 21-7 lead. Well, it's a big sports weekend on NBC. Of course, more football for you on Sunday, but Saturday and Sunday, for you golfers, one of the highlights of the year, the Skins game. 3:30 Eastern Time, Saturday, and then Sunday. Check your local listings. The competitors, Fuzzy Zeller, Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, and Lee Trevino. It's literally a tournament in every hole they play, and lots of money adds up when someone can't win a hole. I know you've enjoyed it in the past, and we got Zeller, Nicklaus, Palmer, and Trevino salivating right now as they go after a big bag of money out there in California. Tom Landry, they said, Too Tall Jones, some of the veterans, they've never seen him so hurt and so angry as after the loss to the Redskins on Sunday, 41-14.
Now, there are those who said quietly, maybe it would have been more effective if Landry had blown up before that game.
Mike Saxon, as Seattle will put pressure on him. Edmonds back at the 40. Well, they do go after him. And a beautiful kick by Saxon. Edmonds at the 29. And good coverage as well as he returns to the 38-yard line.
We go back to the beginning of that play. We'll have a chance to look at what Rusty Tillman devised on this play. Now watch as they take these two men and drive them inside to try and draw the blocks and let these two fellows circle to the outside. Byron Franklin is one of those, and the other one is 23.
Patrick Hunter.
Now watch it as they turn him loose here. You see them streaking to the outside. Good job by the Cowboys. Although they didn't get everybody picked up, they gave their punter time to get it off.
And Saxon delivered his best of the half, 55 yards, 11 on the return. Craig hits Franklin. Franklin out of bounds wisely to stop the clock with a first down at the Dallas 48. And the Seahawks offense has moved at will.
Some verbal fisticuffs taking place down there between Randy White and Edwin Bailey over on that side. Might not be a bad idea to look in on that one as White exercised about something, and I would guess probably holding is usually what irritates those defensive linemen.
Ernie Stotner, a Hall of Famer, defensive line coach of the Cowboys in the blue. Fine catch by Franklin, short yardage, out of bounds, right into Stotner, it appeared, at the 45-yard line.
Well,
he could still make a tackle.
He could still make a tackle. Unfortunately, that was Manny Hendricks rolling out underneath him on the outside. Craig getting the play, not much yardage on the play. Second, about 7 yards to go.
Seattle with a 21-7 lead and one timeout. 52 seconds left in the half.
I'm surprised they haven't tried to test Michael Downs deep. Downs limping through practice all week with a bad ankle, but they haven't tried to get him deep yet.
Raymond Butler in motion, number 83. With protection, Craig to the 40-yard line. Michael Downs there to make sure he didn't go farther than the 4 yards. And that's the last time out for Seattle.
Craig short of that first down, but Chuck Knox has to be just really tickled with the way things have gone here in the first half. They have not made the kind of mistakes that have been putting them under the gun, and they have been able to make big plays offensively. You see there the timeouts left for the Seahawks. That's Steve Moore, blonde-haired coach with his back to you, standing next to Chuck Knox. Gilbert on the left, the backup quarterback. Moore spent a lot of his time up in the booth as the coordinator of the offense, but Knox has him down on the field the last few games. They feel that they have a better chance to really go eye to eye with the receivers and the quarterback, explain things in a man-to-man fashion down there on the sideline. Said, I can't see as much down there, but I can communicate with my people better.
Chuck Knox, we were talking in his 33 years of coaching about the men that had influenced him, and he mentioned Blanton Collier at the University of Kentucky, the former Browns coach, and the way he taught his players. He mentioned Joe Schmidt, who was a coach of the Lions when he was an assistant, and Schmidt gave him the player's perspective in coaching.
And Weeb Eubank.
Doesn't his name always come up?
Always seems to pop up, doesn't it?
Weeb Eubank, what influence he had on so many coaches. Third down and 4. Scansey again away from Hendricks. A flag is down, and so is Scansey at the 20-yard line. The penalty will stop the clock with 35 seconds left.
Quite possible that Scansey may have used a little bit of extra to get open on that play. No.
45 defense. Penalty decline.
You knew it had to be in that confrontation between Manny Hendricks and Scansey, and it was Hendricks grabbing on. A little collision. They'll take it against the defense there. You'll see it from the end zone. On the left-hand side of your screen, look for number 45 defensively. Whoop. Well, it had happened earlier before that. And we actually missed the holding call, which must have taken place right off the line of scrimmage. But fine play by Scansey, who's impressive today.
He was target of Steve Pelors at the University of Washington. Pelor, the Dallas quarterback. And Scansey, who had only 8 catches prior to today, has 3 big ones in this first half. 35 seconds showing.
Audible for Craig as he moves his troops around.
He's in field goal range, but he wants more. Throwing out of bounds. Hendricks, and a flag is down. It was intended for Franklin, but it was not a catchable ball.
Well, you won't have an interference call. You may have a holding call against the defense.
Illegal contact, number 42 defense, 5 yards.
Beyond that 5-yard zone, you're not allowed to make the contact. Is that Everson Walls, 24, down there on Butler? Ray Butler, 83. And the feeling by the official that he chucked him to keep him in front of him. And, of course, that will again bring up a first down situation. Now well within field goal range for Johnson, and Craig looking for 7.
The Seahawks trying to make it a perfect offensive first half. 4 possessions, 4 touchdowns.
Some Seahawks fans are wondering if this is the same team they've been watching for the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Well, this was the team good enough to beat the New York Giants earlier in the year. Almost intercepted by Vince Albritton, and had he been one step closer to that deflection, he might have had 6 the other way.
But I think, in fact, if Dave Craig hadn't taken matters in his own hands, watch Craig at the end of this play. As that ball is batted in the air, Albritton has a chance at it, but keep this thing going because you're going to see Craig become a defensive player here. Watch him dive in there to try and keep that man away from that football.
Yeah, they're going to measure competitiveness. Well, little number 17 out of Milton College, Dave Craig, is high on the list.
Never an apology for that. Confidence, maybe a problem. Courage, competitiveness, he's right there at the top.
Beautiful deflection by Everson Walls. Last minute, he was able to get his hand in front of Raymond Butler.
Butler and Walls locking elbows down the sideline, almost like a couple going out to dance. But Walls getting the hand up and getting control of it.
Walls, who you saw leading interceptor in the league 3 out of 5 years, he and Downs came into the league as free agents in '81, and in 4.5 years, they've got 62 interceptions between them. Looking for Largent, he's covered. So Craig, they're going to call that intentionally grounding.
Craig trying to say, hey, I was just reacting, but the rule says very specifically, if you throw that football to avoid the sack, we've got to call you, and that's exactly what it was.
Intentional grounding, number 17 offense, 10 yards and loss of down, 4th down.
The blitz coming on Craig. He gets away from the blitz, but still can't find a man open downfield. Good coverage. Now watch him here. Does not throw the ball until he knows he's going down. And, of course, that means he's just avoiding the sack by 40, Billy Bates, who come in on the safety blitz. This will stretch it out, make it a little bit more difficult for Norm Johnson.
Norm Johnson, this has been his tough range, 40 to 49 yards, 1 for 8 this year, even though he's made 3 over 50 yards.
Maybe you'd like him to move it out a little further, Dick.
Take another 5-yard penalty. It'll be about 45 yards.
Well, they must have marked off too much here. Let's see. They got to take it back. 10-yard penalty. I think what they're doing is checking the line of scrimmage here. And now they're giving the mark.
To the 25-yard line. Trying to make it a bit shorter, 42 or 43 yards.
You see those officials taking those steps. They are looking at the lines, though. They're not just stepping it off.
Gail Gilbert to hold. Adds 3 more to complete an outstanding first half by a team that has struggled desperately offensively the last 5 weeks. Remember, this is a Seattle team offensively that scored just 1 touchdown each of the last 5 games. And they have a 24-7 lead at the half today.
And of course, all during this week, this short week, in the papers in Seattle, they've been reminding the Seahawks of another Thanksgiving Day turkey played here in Dallas. The most one-sided loss that the Seahawks have ever had.
I don't even remember that game, and they say I was here. I somehow repressed it.
It was one of the longest days of all time, Dick Enberg.
Yeah,
51-7, a final score.
I remember
51-6.
the end. Ron Essink, a tackle, finally caught a touchdown pass.
Tackle eligible.
Meanwhile, Tom Landry, with only 8 seconds left, is going to have to ready a little frying pan full of words for his club at halftime.
And one would have to wonder if maybe this isn't the time for Landry to give one of those emotional locker room speeches. It's not something he does, but certainly if he does it, his troops will listen. I guarantee you that.
Johnson probably skid one. No, he's going to send it high.
Confidence in that kicking game.
Clack at the 5. Hit hard at the 20-yard line, and 4 seconds left in the half. Seahawks, 4 possessions, 4 scores, settling for the field goal, 42 yards by Norm Johnson on the last possession.
And certainly the kicking game coming into play here as they have gotten good field position, especially on those last 2 drives.
Yeah, the combination of Johnson with the kickoff, pinning them deep, and then Bobby Joe Edmonds' excellent returns on the punts. A 1-2 punch for Seattle. Herschel Walker fumbles, recovered by Seattle's Kerry Justin at the end of the half. And Dallas gladly heads for the locker room as Justin had given Seattle possession. NFL 86 halftime activities will be with us as we watch Tom Landry make a long walk, and Chuck Knox, who came to Dallas wondering lots of things about his team, has to be pleased.
There may be some scorching words from Tom Landry in that locker room before this second half begins.
Dallas, more than a touchdown favorite, trailing 24-7. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Tonight on Cheers.
Gobble, gobble.
It's Thanksgiving, a time for breaking bread and celebrating with friends and loved ones. And on Night Court, can Harry lay down the law to an ambitious young judge?
I would like to see you alone in my office.
I bet you would. Then on Hill Street, Grace has a new habit, but can she break the old ones?
I'm going to make you my project. Tonight.
Larry Hodge always dreamed about getting to the Super Bowl. Well, when GTE supplied the telecommunication systems for Super Bowl 20, Larry got his chance. In just 30 days, he and his team of installers laid 9 miles of cable, designed and installed dozens of telecommunication systems, and over 1,100 different lines, which explains why Larry's team will make it to the Super Bowl again this year. GTE, quality service from quality people.
Don't be caught fresh out. Stock up on Mountain Fresh Rainier now.
Have a safe and happy Thanksgiving.
So, the Dallas Cowboys, who have dropped 3 of their last 4, trailing to the Seahawks, who only a week ago snapped their 4-game losing streak and have played very poorly on the road up until this Thanksgiving Day, 24-7 at the half. To update the Vinny Testaverde story, for those of you who might not have heard earlier, there he is. That's a live shot. He's at the Orange Bowl. He will not suit up for tonight's game against East Carolina. He could, were it an emergency, he could have played tonight. But they were a 41-point favorite with him, and they got to be favored by at least 4 touchdowns without him tonight against East Carolina. So senior Jeff Torretta will start in his place, and Testaverde will be ready for the Fiesta Bowl on January 2nd in primetime here on NBC to decide the national title against Penn State. Now let's go out to Chicago, where Jim McMahon is standing by. Jim with his family. There's daughter Ashley, and the younger of the two children is son Sean, who's approaching his second birthday. Wife Nancy is there. What's Thanksgiving Day like at the McMahon household, Jim?
Well, right now it's pretty quiet. We're getting ready to go to some friend's house for dinner right after this interview, and we've been just kind of relaxing today.
You know, I've heard you say before that the wild man image may be one thing, but at home you think of yourself as the absolute all-American family man, even with the shades on indoors.
Well, you got this light staring me in the face. That's why these shades are on.
I see.
But, I've usually sit over here in my chair and just sit there all day with my remote control and whatever I need. Ashley's big enough now to go in the fridge and get it, so I'm pretty lazy at home.
It's important to have a chain of command in the household. The kids understand what their chores are. What about the shoulder now? You're heading out to Los Angeles, and what's the prognosis?
Well, I'm going out to Los Angeles on the 15th of December. The surgery will be on the 16th. And Dr. Joe feels that, he can fix it with the scope, and, it shouldn't be too long of recovery if that's the only thing they'll have to do with it.
Would this surgery have been necessary even had it not been for the hit by Charles Martin of the Packers this past Sunday?
Well, it's hard to tell, Bob, until they go in there and actually look around with the scope. I know the one tear that they diagnosed earlier in the season is definitely still there, and I also have one at the top of the shoulder.
He apologized a couple of days after the incident. Do you accept that apology, or just what are your feelings about him right now?
Well, I really don't have, any feelings at all right now. I mean, my season's over with, and it's, it's a bad break, and it's something that, I know he apologized for, but it's something, I'm just glad he didn't break my neck. I mean, that certainly could have happened. At the time, I didn't think it was that bad until I saw it later on that evening.
Watching the tape, it looked as if you didn't resist at all. Were you just so startled when he grabbed you that you had no reaction, or what was going through your mind at that instant?
Well, it just happened so fast. I felt somebody back there, but I had no idea that, that's what his intentions were. He grabbed me around the arm, and I really couldn't protect myself at that point. He just threw me down so fast that, I really couldn't react.
Commissioner Rozelle has suspended him for 2 games pending his appeal this week. Do you think that penalty is severe enough?
Well, it's not my job to hand down fines or penalties, but I thought it was kind of light, seeing the fact that the way it happened and everything. But that's not my job.
Some of your teammates feel there's a thing going on here between the Bears and Packers that's gotten completely out of hand, and that the Packers as a group are trying to hurt Bear players. Do you think that's true?
Well, I really don't know. I know the rivalry is definitely an intense one, and sometimes things happen that are outside the rules. And it's just, I think it's a lot more evident when the Bears-Packers play.
You were quoted earlier this week as saying that the severity now of your shoulder injury, you hope that convinces your teammates that you truly were hurt all along. Some had voiced some doubts about that. What do you think the feeling is now among the Bear players about Jim McMahon?
Well, there wasn't that many players really that I don't think doubted that I was hurt. There was a question in a few people's minds, but I think overall the people did know I was injured, and they know I'm just not out there hanging around. I've played with broken bones before, so it's something that I have been able to play with a lot of pain, and this is it's my throwing arm, and if I can't throw effectively, I'm not going to be able to be out there.
Can they make it back to the Super Bowl without you?
I think so. I'm hoping they do. I have a lot of confidence in our team. Our defense is playing real well right now, and I think offensively, with the fact now they know I'm not going to be coming back, I think the guys will be able to pick up the slack. I know Mike Tomczak's a good quarterback, and I think he can do it.
Jim, thanks very much. Happy Thanksgiving to you and the whole family.
Same to you, Bob.
Let's go now down to the Orange Bowl, where Jimmy Johnson, the coach of the Miami Hurricanes, #1 ranked team in the nation, is standing by before tonight's game against East Carolina. Jimmy, thanks very much for joining us. Did you give any thought at all to using Vinny Testaverde tonight?
Bob, not really. We talked about it. The doctor said that he could play, but he would be extremely painful, and there's just no way that they thought that he could be effective. And so we decided yesterday that we wouldn't play him in the ball game tonight.
Familiarize us a little bit then with Jeff Toretta. We haven't seen much of him.
Well, Jeff is a quality quarterback. He really hasn't had a lot of playing time, but we recruited him out of junior college a couple of years ago. He's a very intelligent quarterback. He understands our offense. And in fact, next month he'll be graduating with a degree in international finance. We feel like he's going to be able to do a good job. He throws the ball well. He's got a different throwing motion than Vinny, but we feel like he'll fit into our offense and do a fine job tonight.
Looking ahead to the Penn State game in the Fiesta Bowl, have you begun those preparations already?
Not really. We're concerned with East Carolina. Anything can happen, as you know. You've heard it many times and seen it many times. And especially with Vinny out of the ball game tonight, we've got to make sure we take care of our business tonight before we get into the Penn State ball game. But I know this: they've got 19 out of 22 starters are seniors, and they've got a lot of fifth-year seniors. Quality football team. Of course, Paterno does a great job with this football team.
As it works out, that game will be for the national title for all intents and purposes, but that's a coincidence. Do you favor a playoff on a regular basis, some kind of system?
Well, I think people have taken me for one that doesn't like a playoff. I would be all for a playoff if we didn't take anything away from the bowl system. I think the tradition of the bowls and the enjoyment people have had over the years, I just hate to see that taken away. The other thing is, with the bowl system the way it is nowadays, you've got about 15 programs, the alumni, the coaches, the players, walking away from the season with a positive thought in mind and positive feelings about their programs. And with the playoff, you'll have one happy team and all the rest of them be disappointed.
Jimmy, thanks very much for taking the time out before tonight's game. Happy Thanksgiving.
All right, happy.
Jimmy Johnson, the coach of the Miami Hurricanes. We'll continue here at halftime in just a moment on NFL 86, so please stay with us.
Front-wheel drive Dodge Lancer is the performance sedan that will thrill you all the way to the red line, hold you to the dotted line, cover you down the line, and impress you with its bottom line. Dodge Lancer, with prices starting at $98.52. Dodge, setting new standards of performance.
Thanksgiving Day and the Dallas Cowboys. It's become something of a tradition, and when you think of Thanksgiving Day heroics and Dallas, you got to think of Roger Staubach, Ahmad.
That's right. Thanksgiving is not only a day for family and eating turkey, but for anybody who ever played football from Little League all the way through the pros, everybody has a great memory of a Thanksgiving Day game. That includes me and the great Roger Staubach.
The first one I started in, we beat the Rams on a key Thanksgiving Day. Roman Gabriel was a quarterback, and he was hitting touchdown passes, and I hit a pass to Bob Hayes, a long touchdown. I'll never forget that. Then Allworth got one over the middle, and we went back and forth and won 28-21, and that was a big one. One year we won. I got knocked out. We would have lost if I hadn't got knocked out because I was playing terrible, and Longley came in and won the game 24-23, hit Drew Pearson for a touchdown to beat Washington, and one year we beat St. Louis. When they were on our 10-yard line, they had 4 plays to get in the end zone. The score was 19-14, and we stopped Jim Hart for a last-second charge on Thanksgiving Day. Of course, the big thing about it was to win that Thanksgiving, because you can enjoy 10 days. When you win a game, you don't have enough time to enjoy it. We lost to Houston one year, and my last year, and boy, I was miserable. I wasn't a lot of fun on Thanksgiving. I think I even cut myself carving a turkey. Now, I had a bad day. And so it wasn't, but when you won, and we won a lot of those Thanksgiving Day, it was fun to go home and everybody's in a festive mood and you have all the friends there and you really enjoy your holiday. And we usually had a big Thanksgiving dinner at the house.
You know, a lot of people, when they finish playing football, they miss the game. And I don't miss it too much, but I would imagine on Thanksgiving, you got to feel a little extra adrenaline flowing because you were so successful on Thanksgiving.
Well, really, yeah, I do enjoy it. I look back even as a kid, I remember the old Packers used to play on Thanksgiving, then the Lions, and you remember those days. And of course, when I graduated from college, I used to go back to Cincinnati. That'd be a holiday from the Navy, and we'd play. We had a turkey bowl back there, all the old high school guys. So I think on Thanksgiving Day, people are playing touch football in the morning and coming to watch the games in the afternoon in the turkey bowls. And it's, as a player, of course, I really enjoyed those days. Now I still get pumped up. I associate good things with Thanksgiving because we won a lot. So I still enjoy watching the Thanksgiving Day games.
Well, we are both too old to actually play, and I never got a chance to play against you on Thanksgiving Day. But now, this Thanksgiving, I'm going to give you a chance to get back in the winning column because we can play a little one-on-one here.
I don't warn you, I played in college. Well, here we are.
Yep, when you get old and you can't play football anymore on Thanksgiving, we're resorted to this.
I still got my jump shot.
Yeah, sure. It's probably a set shot as long ago as you played. Foul! That was a foul! You're supposed to fade away on those routes. Like that. Wait, top of the key. You're cheating in your own backyard. Wash my hands. Wow. Sweet. I got those quick hands, man. This is the end of it right here. I can see how Elgin Baylor. Left hand. Nice
Get
shot.
that one, left
nice
hand.
Shot.
Done that.
All right.
I knew my condition would pay off.
Can you slam dunk?
Huh?
Can I slam?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, it is all over with. One of the few times Roger Staubach has lost on Thanksgiving.
ABC paid me to have him win this game from a couple of old basketball players. Happy Thanksgiving.
I work for NBC. Roger Staubach is really one of the nicest people I've ever met. Sometimes so-called heroes never live up to their billing, but Roger Staubach is one of these guys that surpasses his. If there's ever a role model that can be used on the field and off the field, it's Roger Staubach, Bobby.
Despite the scoreboard, I think he owns you.
Oh, no. Did you see that fadeaway? Did you see the fadeaway at the end of the thing?
Yeah, I saw it.
Thank you.
We got to fade away from you here for a second and go over to Frank DeFord. Quickly, your reaction as we backtrack a bit to Pete Rozell's 2-game suspension of Charles Martin for the McMahon hit.
I think it's like a parking fine. I think the most ineffective commissioner in sports in the last several years has been John Ziegler of the National Hockey League for a large reason, because he's letting the goons get away with murder. And I'm terribly afraid that Mr. Rozell is becoming Zieglerized.
Paul.
Well, I just look at it. I think that Martin should be suspended for 1 year. And I'm talking about continuing on into next year, for the rest of this year, into next year for what he did. And that will set an example for everyone.
Strong words to be sure, and we'll go back to Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen for the second half from Dallas right after these messages from your local stations. If we don't see you again, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Friday on Miami Vice, Phil Collins is dressed to kill.
Regular litany of evil, not I?
But a con game gets him in over his head.
He's gonna kill the little twerp.
Then Michael J. Fox, Diane Sawyer, and Terry Garr in their own movies.
Smells like prime time in here, doesn't it?
David Letterman's second annual Holiday Film Festival after Miami Vice.
Come home Friday.
This is Eric's spiffy new Suzuki Samurai 4x4. This is Eric. This is Eric's little sister. Eric and his Samurai were right up there with the first snowflake. He hot-dogged it on the slopes, went dashing through the snow in four-wheel drive, wowed the ski bunnies. He bought it because he could afford it.
Bye, Eric.
He bought it for all the right reasons. Hey, cheer up, Eric. Next spring, you can go water skiing. Test drive a Samurai at your Seattle area Suzuki Automotive dealer today.
King 5 News with Mike James. Weeknights.
And welcome back to Texas Stadium, where some of the fans are seeking a pacifier after watching the Cowboys trail 24-7 after the first half. And maybe it's just a matter of waiting for that Thanksgiving dinner. 24-7 the score. That is a surprise. The Cowboys more than a touchdown favorite. And on Thanksgiving Day, they've won 6 in a row and 9 of their last 10. Dave Craig, Bob Greasy, a quarterback, has to appreciate what he's done.
I'm very impressed with Dave Craig. I saw him about 4 weeks ago. He was down. They had benched him for 2 games. I told him we've all been there before. If you play enough, you'll be. It's nice to see him back, and he is the difference in this game. I think the quarterback draw early on got him going.
And how about the Cowboy defense, Merlin?
Well, I'd still like to be a mouse and to have been able to go into that locker room to listen to what Landry had to say. Burned by big plays last week, and it's good news and bad news for the Cowboys. The good news is they're not as far behind at the half as they were last week. They were behind 34-0 at the half. The bad news, they certainly have a long ways to go to get back into this game.
Well, there was so much hope with Walker and Dorsett starting for the first time in the same backfield. That didn't seem to work. Cowboys will kick it off, so Seattle, along with a 24-7 lead, will get the ball first to open this second half. And the Cowboys have had some remarkable comebacks on Thanksgiving Day and other Sundays here in Irving, and we'll see what happens this afternoon, or their playoff hopes are dashed. Seattle will start from the 26-yard line as Randall Morris carries it out. And here comes Dave Craig. Craig's numbers as fine as he's ever had, and against the team that has the best defense against the pass in the NFL. In fact, they'd allowed only 47% completions. They've allowed only 164 yards passing per game. And one of the reasons for Craig's success, field position. He starts a little deeper at his 26 on this one. Fullback Williams gathered in. Lockhart led the charge.
They've been throwing on first down in the first half. 10 of 13 downs, they have thrown the football on first down. I'll tell you, the Seattle Seahawks have done a great job of mixing things up today. But again, I think you'll feel the conservative nature of Chuck Knox. He's got a lead on the board, and if he can come out and establish ball control here with the running game, you've got to believe he'd like to do that.
He sends Steve Largent to the right. Bill Turner left. Warner and Williams in the eye behind Craig on 2nd down 8. Warner. And he has a first down across the 37-yard line before Michael Downs can bring him to the carpet. Oh, you saw that lateral quickness of Warner.
Looking along the line, watch number 54 trying to go behind the block. And White able to do that, but not able to catch up with Warner. In fact, had he pursued along the line, as he should do in that defense for the Cowboys, he might have had a chance to get a shot at him at the line of scrimmage. But Randy White, trying to make the big play, ends up not making a play at all.
Craig dumps it in the flat to Williams, and the fullback pulled down immediately. Mike Hegman, a veteran of 11 years out of Tennessee State. He has more experience than all the rest of the Cowboy linebackers combined.
Jim Cooper with a strained left knee, one of the Cowboys who won't see action. And one of the Cowboys we'll be watching, as always, is Billy Bates, number 40, wearing a pair of gloves out there. And there's a special reason for that. We'll talk about it maybe after this play, Dick.
Bates from Tennessee, a free agent. Teammate of Willie Gault, the brilliant wide receiver of the Chicago Bears. Largent in motion. Craig incomplete to Warner as he saved the sack with a sidearm throw to Warner. Randy White applying the pressure.
Bill Bates fractured the ring finger of his right hand earlier in the year, and they put 4 pins into that finger. Well, they took 2 pins out earlier. When I saw him yesterday at the training facility, he said they had opened that finger a little bit to try and get the other 2 pins out. He said they took a pair of needle-nose pliers, they got a hold of it, but they couldn't pull it out. I said, Billy, what are they going to do? He said, well, after the game, they'll open it up and go and find those suckers. So you talk about the acceptance of pain. It's reality for these players on the field.
Part of Seattle's success reflected in that perfect 3rd down conversion, Mark.
Oh!
Through the hands of Ray Butler, and that would have been a first down. So Dallas will get the ball as for the first time, Seattle is stopped from scoring on a possession.
A very catchable pass to Butler on the sideline, and he would indeed have picked it up. Craig saying, hey, that's all right. We just going to have to come back and get some more later on, but it does shut off what was a surprisingly good early drive.
Vince Gamache could have been having his turkey dinner the first half. He wasn't needed. His first kick as Gordon Banks stands at the 20 of Dallas. Wobbly kick, Banks. Fair catch at the 25-yard line. 2.5 minutes gone. 3rd quarter. Dallas has the ball for the first time and will try to eat away at that big Seattle
lead. We're not a company, but we'll give you a chance to work where there's always a challenge. We'll give you opportunities to learn, to develop, to perfect skills that you thought were beyond your reach. We'll help you build a career that can reward you for the rest of your life. We're not a company. We're your country. We're the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
Tonight, 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 oh.
BMW 735i is one of those rare luxury sedans engineered by driving enthusiasts. While other luxury sedans announce to the world you've arrived, the new BMW 735i offers you the considerable advantage of arriving a bit sooner. For a test drive, contact your local BMW dealer.
Today's game is brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. To arrange a thorough test drive, phone your nearest BMW dealer. By Merrill Lynch, your world should know no boundaries. And by Sony Video 8, the system of the future. Weigh the evidence at your nearest Sony dealer.
That's Roger Owens. He's the Dodger man from Los Angeles. He's America's premier peanut man. Former President Jimmy Carter might argue that title. He's throwing away the profits here before the turkey arrives. Steve Pallor, great play-action fake. Dumps it off to Herschel Walker. And Walker to the 37-yard line and a first down. A 12-yard play. Young man that guides the line for Dallas coach Tom Landry. Behind him is Jim Myers, the assistant coach's grandson, John Daly. Wouldn't you like to be 13 in Texas and have the job of following the immortal coach of the Cowboys around all game day?
There he is in the background, and I'm sure an inspiration in some ways and an eye-opener in others, too.
Walker to the 42. We asked Tom Landry yesterday, do you have any trouble getting the young man to really feed that cord the right way so you don't get it pulled? He said, and sometimes I think he's got more discipline than some of my players.
The man just to the left of Landry with the white hair is Jim Myers, the offensive line coach, and that is his grandson, as you mentioned earlier. It's his last year. Announced his retirement earlier. Done a great job for the Cowboys and a real strength for them over the years.
Still batting 1,000 is Steve Pallor. On 2nd and 6. Cosby. Oh, that's a fine play by Doug Cosby. He's a favorite here, and because of the new offense, pass offense, Cosby isn't getting his number called much. He's made a couple of good grabs today.
Cosby bouncing that ball a little bit, as you see the pickup right here on the stunt by the lineman. Freddie Young, number 50, trying desperately to get at that ball. Cosby bounced it in the air once, pulled it back down, picks up the first down.
64 catches for Cosby last year, only 24 this year. Dorsett, his first down carry to the 39-yard line. And Tony, apparently, a hip pointer, slow getting up. So he's pinched on that tackle after a gain of nearly 5.
A lot of people wondered how we would use, or how Landry would use, both Walker and Dorsett in the same backfield. Although they have not been highly productive on the day, there have been some good plays out of that tandem.
Pallor, good protection. First down. Mike Sherrard. Paul Moyer made the tackle. First down, Cowboys. 9.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Boy, that would pick up this crowd if they could get a score out of this possession. They trail 24-7. Bullet Bob Hayes, as a rookie, caught 46 his rookie year. No one since then quite so successful.
Walker coming out as a decoy. Watch him swing out to the outside. Here's your receiver going to go down and hook up, and watch the way this play opens up. Right here, just like it's drawn. A little swing back inside.
First down at the Seattle 25. Give to Dorsett. And a good play by number 50, Fred Young. Young from New Mexico State, grew up here in Dallas.
And if you wondered if that was a little bit of light, a spotlight down there, that is indeed a light streaming through one of the entrances here high in the stadium and pouring onto the field. Look at a little spotlight down there on Dorsett as he ended up on the ground on that play.
His own key light. I guess if anyone deserves one here in Dallas, it's Dorsett.
Well, right now it's on Steve Pallor.
and open. Tony Hill. And where's he been? That's his first catch. First down.
Coming right down at you, Dave Brown playing on that right side, giving off a lot of ground. You see him coming back into your screen, but you can't really give that much room to a receiver like Hill and expect the Cowboys not to take advantage of it.
It was Hill's 477th career catch. He's only a dozen behind Drew Pearson, the all-time receiver in Dallas. Pelor, got running room. Flag down. And Pelor out of bounds inside the 5 at the 3. And now check the call. Holding Seattle, so the play will hold. Reminder, this telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience.
Defensive holding, number 58, and forced from the end of the run, half the distance. First down.
That's Bruce Schultz that they've called for the play. Walker going out to the outside, and you see Schultz just grab and hang on at that point. Of course, Pelor had already made the decision to run, and he's well downfield.
First and goal, Cowboys at the 2-yard line, midway through the third quarter. Herschel Walker, not quite. A hole that closed quickly.
Chance to watch the Cowboys using Doug Cosby as an extra lineman. Watch him coming into the inside to try and block to spring this play open. Cosby into the inside right there, the trap man, as they try and get room for Herschel Walker. Good job by Jacob Green, 79, to keep it from being easier.
1 yard away. You look at it as the head linesman would see it. Touchdown. Herschel Walker's 12th touchdown of the year, 11 on the ground. Well, that was a scoring drive that the Cowboys and their beloved fans dearly needed. They're back in it, 24-13 as Septien sets for the extra point.
Very close to a block on that extra point, but let's go back and watch Herschel Walker go airborne, slides right through the arms of Fred Young, number 50, and drops into the end zone.
How much longer till we get there?
About 20 minutes.
Anti-lock brakes, internationally patented suspension, uncanny control. Conventional luxury sedans are built to survive accidents. The BMW 528e is built to avoid them.
Let's see if they're okay.
Nothing escapes the eye of Maxim. The world's first SLR with built-in autofocus, Minolta Maxim focuses by itself. Sharp, fast. Only the human eye focuses faster. With Minolta Maxim, you even get unexpected shots that would have gotten away. The incredible Maxim system.
Only from the mind of Minolta.
To know no boundaries, to let yourself run free. To know no boundaries is what the world should be.
Wherever there are investment opportunities, is there with the help you need to make the most of them. Because at Merrill Lynch, we believe your world should know no boundaries.
To know no boundaries.
This fall, NBC Sports has a November to remember when heart-pounding excitement returns to the greens, where one putt could be worth $450,000. Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Lee Trevino, and Fuzzy Zeller play the Skins game. It's a November to remember on NBC.
Don't forget Saturday, the Skins game returns, 3:30. Trevino, I won't bet against him, against Palmer, Nicklaus, and Zeller. 2 days, Saturday and Sunday on NBC, and this is Bobby Joe Edmonds tripped up at the 15-yard line. Ron Fellows with a tackle, and Edmonds is not up yet.
Dick, I got to tell you, one more step, and he is gone. There was an opening there for him. It was a saving tackle, and may have, in the dive, may have trimmed his ankle to the ground because he's still on the ground as he twisted it pretty good.
Edmonds, who played in this part of the country for the Razorbacks of Arkansas, and a 5th-round pick by the Seattle Seahawks.
Watch the end of this particular play. You can see it, the dive right here on the back of the ankle, and it's a save right there by Johnny Holloway, 23. And I don't know whether he was hurt. Oh, I think right there reaching. You can see the ankle roll as it caught on the turf.
Garth Jacks applying the tackle, 6:46 remaining in the third.
Clint Eastwood, Heartbreak Ridge, rated R. Starts Friday, December 5th.
So the issue is clear. Sony Video 8, the system of the future, or VHS-C, the compromise of the past. Now, as we've seen, the new Sony Handycam with autofocus and zoom gives you a measurably better picture, far superior sound, twice the recording time, and on Sony video cassettes, your memories are safe. While on VHS-C, they could be fleeting. I rest my case.
The Sony Video 8 system. Judge for yourself.
This baby will blow the doors off anything on the road, just like a BMW.
Isn't she a beauty? BMW would build one like this.
You think BMW has advanced technology? Listen to this.
Your door is open.
Huh?
For about $22,000, you can own a BMW 325. Or the hollow feeling of having settled for less.
No battery outruns the Energizer.
Bobby Joe Edmonds reached out with that left ankle. It will let you run here, and it will stop it. Right there, stop it. Now watch Edmonds come down with that left ankle right there, and it just snapped over on him. You see it roll, just trying to gain his balance, and that is an artificial turf injury, no question about it. Boy, Knox does not want to lose him. That's a home run hitter. You don't want him sitting on the bench. You want him out there for you on those punt returns and kickoff returns.
The crowd here at Texas Stadium has a chance to try to encourage the Cowboy defense as Craig starts on his 15. Warner for 5 for 9. Kurt Warner hit by Randy White.
Talked about Kurt Warner's ability to make you miss. Watch the quick lateral movement outside and then the quick break inside to go past Eugene Lockhart. 54, Randy White pursuing from his tackle position over there to make the stop, but it's second and less than a yard.
42 yards for Warner, 10 more for 1,000. Second and 1. And it's enough for the first down. As John L. Williams, the yell does not stand for anything. That's just separates him from the other John Williamses.
And how does Warner feel about his cutting ability? We'll give you a chance to see it. Very simple. You take away my cutting game and you take away my ball game. That's what I do. And boy, he does it well. I don't think, with the possible exception of Walter Payton, that there's a back in the league today who cuts as well laterally as Warner does.
Stop on a dime and give you change. Big first down for Seattle. 5:19 left in the third quarter. The Seahawks lead by 10. The loser, almost unquestionably, will be out of the playoff picture. Deep to Largent, he's open, and a first down at the Dallas 48. Ron Fellows on the coverage, 27 more yards for Largent.
Back a little bit more.
Okay.
Here's Largent, Dick. Now, the man that covering him here is Fellows. Largent's going to trail over and beat him to the outside. As you see the man-to-man coverage, Fellows just following him over. Now Largent's going to put the inside move on him right there and break it to the outside. Good play.
He's able to run with such tremendous body control, making his moves at the same speed as he apparently is progressing downfield. Part of Largent's greatness. First down, Warner to the 43. Jeff Rohr from Yale University. Eugene Lockhart played his college ball at Houston.
The other thing, Dick, that Largent's not afraid to do is block. In fact, talking to the Seattle coaches, they said that one of the most critical first downs they picked up late in the game against Philadelphia was picked up because Largent came back to throw a key block for Kurt Warner. You see Bobby Joe Edmonds on the sideline with not only an ankle problem, but they say also a hamstring injury. Very questionable whether he'll be able to return to the game.
John L. Williams, he could go all the way. And Fellows rides him out at the 19-yard line.
A good chance to watch some blocking inside as they lock up White and Jeffcoat. Mattis, number 70, blocking Jeffcoat to hold him on the inside stack. Let's take a chance to watch it. You'll see right here, they're just going to lock Jeffcoat in. They're going to lock Randy White in. And John L. is just going to make his way right through there for a big gain. But look at that blocking. Will Grant, the center, coming over. Fine job. Good block by Warner, too, on the linebacker.
25 yards. Williams' longest run of the year. Kurt Warner stacked up after a yard gain. Warner, nevertheless, has rushed for 48 yards unofficially, and that moves him over the 1,000-yard mark again for the season.
Well, Dick, we mentioned an injury earlier in the year that took the starting center out of that lineup. Will Grant was picked up when they had to go out and find a center in the open market. They went and found Will Grant, brought him in here. Connie Kawhi could not do the job for him. Will Grant has stepped in, and they said, hey, not a lot of rubber left on the tire, but he's given us all he's got.
Yeah, you can see some of the steel thread. Second down, Williams. And Fellows bumps him out of bounds at about the 12, where it'll be third and around 5. Earlier today, Green Bay in the final minutes beat the Lions at Pontiac 44-40. Forrest Gregg celebrating the holiday, and here a surprising score. The Seattle Seahawks, a solid underdog to the Dallas Cowboys, who have owned this game in the last 10 years, winning 9 of 10 on Thanksgiving Day at home. Down 24-7 at the half. Cowboys have scored to close the gap to 10, but here come the Seahawks. A big 3rd and 3. Whoa. Forward pass, that forward shovel pass, it's going to be close to a first down. They needed 3.
I believe he's got it, and just barely. It looked like he threw this football out from the stomach of Too Tall Jones. Big head Too Tall Jones. Sure, he had the quarterback all the way, and that little toss inside. And, of course, if you can pull Too Tall in, that gives you a little opening in there for that running back.
Too Tall, a former basketball player as well at Tennessee State. And he almost intercepted that forward pass. It is short of the first down, 4th and that much.
A chance to watch the play as we get a chance to look. Watch Too Tall now. What they want him to do is to sucker him to the inside, and Mike Wilson then can go down and block on the tackle to the inside. That's Dutton, number 78. They'll just swing the ball out here to Warner and let him go right up through there. There's Mike Wilson inside, the little toss into Warner, and Warner puts a nice move on, actually picked it up with second effort.
4th down and short, so Norm Johnson will try a 27-yard field goal. Hit one earlier from 42. And Johnson misses to the left. He hooked it wide, and that gives Cowboy fans further hope.
And those are insurance points. And at this time, they're non-points. As you watch Norm Johnson, good snap, good hold.
And Gail Gilbert expressing the emotion, no good.
This is your pilot speaking. We're all out of Eagle Snacks Honey Roast Nuts.
You don't have to fly anymore to get our Honey Roast Nuts. Just drop into your store. Eagle Snacks Honey Roast Nuts, the airline nut.
In the look-alike world of financial services, one stands out. It's one of America's strongest diversified financial experts. A fortress of insurance protection for group medical care and employee benefits. A master architect of financial growth in pensions, mutual funds, and real estate investments. It's the Travelers. Have you looked under the Travelers umbrella lately?
God, look at the size of him.
King Kong lives. Rated PG-13. Coming this Christmas to theaters everywhere.
Making the Kmart 7 a.m. sale tomorrow may take some doing, but savings on VHS VCRs and T120 tapes only last until 10 a.m., so whatever you have to do, do it. But get up.
I'm up!
Kmart, the saving place.
I'm Tom Brokaw. The latest developments in the Iran-Contra scandal, plus a look at Americans celebrating Thanksgiving tonight on NBC Nightly News.
Now the Cowboys remain down by only 10. Now time for great moments in Thanksgiving sports.
Great moments in history, family history for that matter. Chance for us to look back.
Well, I guess we don't have time. So
we're looking back on a football game.
Dorsett out to the 24-yard line.
The Cowboys eager to get back into this.
Well, a few years ago, I think it was Merlin that convinced David Neal, the producer, that we should go to Turlock, California, take the family and meet a lot of friends.
I'm Alex Sundberg, and we just like to say Happy Thanksgiving to a couple of turkeys, our dads.
I'll tell you, those two boys are a lot bigger now than they were then.
Yeah, they're both freshmen and an 8th grader and girlfriends and all that sort of thing. Pallure, he's got a man open. Mike Sherrard, but overshoots him. Well, there's no question of Pallure's arm. He didn't have a lot of time to think about long or not too long. He had to unload. Dave Brown was coming in on a corner blitz.
And they had it too, Dick, because watch Robinson right here. He bites on the fake, and Sherrard will come right past him deep down the field. Robinson filling in for Harris, the weak safety that had been with Seattle for so long. The ball is just overthrown, and Sherrard's speed, one of the things they wanted to get into that lineup.
That was the first miss by Pallure after a Dallas record 14 straight completions. Walker can't quite make the spectacular as Keith Butler rides him out of bounds. So the Cowboys unable to pick up the first down with 1 minute 34 seconds left in the third. In comes Mike Saxon. With a 10-point lead, you don't figure that the Seahawks will try to put on a block, but you never know. Paul Scansey has replaced Bobby Joe Edmonds as the return man. He's at the 38. What a kick. A boomer. Scansey eludes one man. And he's down at the 30. That was Johnny Holloway, the first man downfield, couldn't make the tackle. A 50-yard punt, 4 yards on the return, and Garth Jacks made the hit. Timeout, 1:23 left in the third.
This is your pilot speaking. We're all out of Eagle Snacks Honey Roast Nuts.
You don't have to fly anymore to get our Honey Roast Nuts. Just drop into your store. Eagle Snacks Honey Roast Nuts, the airline nut.
A tiger has black stripes. A tiger has a brown nose. We saw a rhinoceros.
Kindergartners across the country are reading as much as 2 grade levels above the national average because of an IBM learning program called Writing to Read. Using personal computers and other tools, it helps them convert sounds they can say,
See the word pig.
into sounds they can write and read.
A frog eats insects. A frog eats bugs.
I've been involved in a lot of innovative programs. This is the first one that I feel will stay forever. I think Writing to Read is here to stay.
I see a tiger. A tiger sees me. Tigers live in the sea. The end.
To learn more about Writing to Read, write IBM, Box 446, Montvale, New Jersey.
The Skill Twist cordless power screwdriver. It's a new twist on an old idea.
Yeah, this begins early, the 13th week of the NFL season, and all the games on NBC on Sunday have playoff implications. First place Chicago hosting Pittsburgh, Buffalo at Kansas City, Chiefs hope still alive, Cleveland battling with Cincinnati, hosts Houston, New Orleans hosts New England, the Patriots are 9-3. Well, San Diego and Indianapolis playing for pride, and then a big one, Cincinnati at Denver, 2 first-place teams. They'll be with us on NBC this coming Sunday. Craig Warner out to the 37-yard line. Gain of about 7 before Eugene Lockhart can stack him up. Seattle has moved the ball effectively today, and that's something that Chuck Knox was most concerned about.
I think this has been a sparkling day for the offense. The Seahawks have been generating very little in the way of offense over the past few weeks. They've got to be really tickled, in particular with the play of Dave Craig.
And of course, as long as they stay on the ground, every first down means about 3 minutes time off the clock, and we're in the final minute of the third quarter. And John Williams has the first down to the 43. And Seattle won't have to run off a play. 30 seconds showing now. They can let the third period run out.
You see the Seahawks looking up at that clock, and this is exactly what they want. They want to control the football, control the clock, not make the mistakes, force Dallas to work the long way to the end zone.
Dallas able to chop into the 24-7 lead with one score. That a short dive by Herschel Walker to cut the lead to 10. Norm Johnson missing a fairly easy field goal from 27. But Seattle running out the clock in the third. 15 minutes left, 24-14. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Sunday, a man's obsession, a young girl's secret life, a family's love. Richard Crenna stars in The High Price of Passion, Sunday.
At Domino's Pizza, we guarantee that your fresh, hot, custom-made pizza will be delivered safely in 30 minutes or less, or it's free. Domino's Pizza delivers in 30 minutes or less. Guaranteed. One call does it all.
Guaranteed. Domino's Pizza and Coke. All the ingredients of a winner. And I like winners.
especially with pepperoni. Call them now.
Before the first nail was driven, we were there. We were there when the trip of a lifetime was just a dream. We're there for more people in more ways than any other bank in the state. And today, we'll help nearly 1 million people, one at a time.
These days, a lot of airlines are cutting corners on their meals.
This little beauty we like to call banquet on a bun, right, Bob?
Banquet on a bun.
I like it. Sit down, Bob. Now with this, you can serve a whole plain loaf for just pennies. I like it. Holastic parsley. You can use it over and over again. I like it. Pygmy chickens. You can get 125 in an ordinary shoebox. I like it.
At Alaska Airlines, we spend a little more on our meals, and you can taste the difference.
Tony Ventrella with sports, weeknights.
Danny White started the season as the Dallas quarterback, the veteran, but there's been a bounty seemingly on the heads of NFL signal callers. White knocked out in the Giants game, a broken wrist. One of so many. 9 of 28 teams have had their quarterback in for all the games as the start of this year. Warner cleverly out to the 47, a gain of 4.
Here are some of the most notable injuries as you look down, and of course a few of those quarterbacks back in action. Eason is back in action, as is Montana, amazingly so, but a number of them, like White, who's on the end of the list, still out. And as you said, Dick, many have gone out for injuries. Others have gone out because of performance. Dave Craig on that list, benched, as we've talked about, by Knox, but doing a fine job here today.
Just underway in the fourth quarter, and Seattle trying to chew on that clock. Craig underneath to Warner. Pinned at the 48 of Dallas, 5 yards. It appears it'll be 3rd and 1. Rohr and Lockhart on the tackle. Indeed, a happy Thanksgiving from Texas Stadium, where the Seahawks are trying to surprise the Cowboys.
It's always a kind of a fun day because even though the moms are busy getting a Thanksgiving dinner together, and the sisters, I hope they're taking time to sit down and rest a little bit and enjoy a little football, just as we are here at Texas Stadium today.
Well, there's some families where dad's doing the cooking and mom's doing the cheering, too.
Yeah, that's true.
Big play. Warner, oh, look at the drive. And a first down at the 43, 5 yards for Warner. And you could see just as he got to the hole, he really punched it into high gear.
Explosion. Eugene Lockhart, a very physical linebacker, and the two of them locked up at the line of scrimmage. Warner's legs just went into fast motion here. Watch it. Here's the collision. A shot by Lockhart there, and a little John L. Williams to help as he kind of dropped Lockhart out of his stance a little bit, but Warner just used him and picked him up and took him downfield for the first down.
2 minutes consumed of this fourth quarter. Craig to Largent, and Walls makes a spectacular interception. Everson Walls to the 23-yard line. What a play by Walls. Dave Craig made the tackle. Walls and Largent, it was either touchdown or intercept, and Walls won the battle.
You're going to feel like you're running the pattern yourself as we start at the beginning of the play. Watch Largent now trying to lock up and get Walls to move. Walls playing the man until he feels the ball coming. Now, at the last second, goes up and takes it out of the hands of Steve Largent. Well, that is football at its best.
They've taken the ball back to the 16-yard line for whatever reason. And we're waiting for referee Bob
Now
McElwee.
it's back to the 11-yard line. Here it is.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, 50
Schultz, the linebacker, apparently throwing an unnecessary block.
Mike Hegman, I believe, Dick, was on the receiving team, so it would have been Hegman.
Okay, Hegman, excuse me, Mike Hegman. Valor, almost intercepted by Greg Gaines, 56, the linebacker.
You'll be able to see the infraction. That's Hegman right. You see the top of it. Just a second. There's the personal foul, the late hit by Hegman, which doesn't make any sense at all. The play's on the ground. Why take a shot at that point? The officials, I think, very touchy about late hits because of what happened to McMahon last week, and I think rightfully so.
That wasn't vicious, but nevertheless a foul. 2nd and 10. Eugene Lockhart knocked Hegman.
Nice play from the backside by Freddie Young. Number 50 coming in to make that tackle.
Now Dallas has got to generate some more points. They're down by 10, and even though deep in their own end, the fans getting itchy, they want to see the ball in the air. Cowboys have been very successful in the final period throughout the years, outscoring the opposition 2-1. Renfro, Sherrard to the left. Hill to the right. 3rd and 7. Deep down the field to Walker. A flag is down as Walker has hit it at the 47-yard line. We'll see if it counts. There are 2 flags down.
Holding number 75 offense. Illegal use of hands. 23 defense. Penalties offset. Replay the down.
No satisfaction to the penalties nullifying one another for Cowboy fans as Walker's 33-yard gain is nullified.
Bill Posterick keeps his streak intact.
That's too bad.
Giant game earlier in the year. He's called for holding again. You see him holding on Jacob Green, and there's the flag dropping in. Unfortunately for him, his name has been called at the wrong time a number of times for the Cowboys this year.
It has been one of the problems for the Cowboys. The offensive tackles have consistently, week in, week out, had trouble stopping defensive ends. They are quicker. 3rd down again, 7. Again long to Sherrard, but he's going to be out of bounds. Could not get both feet in as the pass took him out of the field of play. So 11:15 left, and Seattle will get the ball.
Dick, even though that play was called back, it gives you an understanding of how valuable the speed of a Herschel Walker is. And they were able to break him in there, put him on a linebacker who had no chance whatsoever to cover him, and get him the football upfield.
Paul Scansey awaits the punt of Saxon, who will receive the ball on the goal line. Short, Scansey at the 48, and returns to the 40-yard line. So Seattle in excellent position, a 10-point lead, 11 minutes left, and they have the ball at the Dallas 40-yard line.
The parents of these kids have very different jobs, but when Dean Witter helps manage their investments, they're all treated the same. Special.
Everybody is somebody, a Dean Witter.
A member of the Sears Financial Network.
Okay, but why Tandy Computers? In a word, quality. We do it all, from custom-designed semiconductors to the finished product. Tandy Business Computers are manufactured in our own USA plants. We test and retest and test again to ensure one of the highest standards of quality in the industry. And Radio Shack provides total service and support. I'm convinced.
Tandy Computers at Radio Shack Computer Centers. In business, for business.
Take me back where I belong. Take me where this heart was born. Just take me as I am.
Touchstone Pictures presents Paul Newman and Tom Cruise in Martin Scorsese's The Color of Money, one of the biggest blockbusters of the season.
We're gonna have a lot of fun.
The Color of Money, rated R, now playing at theaters everywhere.
Home movies by Michael J. Fox, Diane Sawyer, and Terry Garr.
It smells like prime time in here, doesn't it?
David Letterman's second annual Holiday Film Festival, Friday after Miami Vice.
Today's game is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By IBM. And by Budweiser, Beechwood Aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you.
11 minutes, 6 seconds left at Texas Stadium, and the Seahawks with the ball and a 24-14 lead. He's beautiful to watch. He does have those Walter Payton moves, left, right, darting, able in one step to stop and then be at full speed the next.
They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Let's just let Kurt Warner talk for himself. That is beautiful. That's a portrait right there.
Hang that one on the wall. That's in the gallery. 78 yards now for Warner. First down. Clock stopped, 10:58 on the out of bounds. Finally, Rohr gets him at the 10-yard line. Kurt Warner ripping through the Cowboys. 16 more.
You want to watch a running back shift gears? Watch Warner as he takes just a little stutter step here, right there, and then zip. He goes into overdrive and pops into the secondary out of a tackle right there. Finally leveled by Rohr. Oh, what an explosion by Warner.
Well, his nickname is the Land Crab because of the way he can just set and dart. 94 yards now for Warner. It's first and goal from the 10 as Warner has outdueled the tandem that goes down and Walker. And he gets the call again. Touchdown. Oh, my. Talk about a one-man show. He did everything but accompany the band with cymbals on his knees. Kurt Warner, 3 carries and just took it right into the end zone. He went 26, check that, 14, 16, and 10 yards, 3 consecutive carries, and a Seattle touchdown.
And a quick pat on the back to Ron Madison, Ed Bailey, and Will Grant, Brian Millard, Mike Wilson, that big line up in front of him, along with Mike Tice. They're doing some things right, too, but it was Warner's show all the way.
Dallas was offside. It won't matter, at least on the extra point, as Johnson nails it through. Well, just as you could just hear the emotional deflation at Texas Stadium.
Offside for 26 defense. Point is good. Forced to 5 yards on the kickoff.
You might have heard cheering long distance on the West Coast because it's the Rams and 49ers who are battling with the Dallas Cowboys for the wild card. Whichever of those two does not win the Western Division will be in that wild card fight. Time out.
Ford's riding the streets and trails and roads. We're carrying people and hauling loads. When tough men need tough trucks and goods not enough. America's truck is built for tough.
Here comes the new shape of tough, the big Ford pickup for 87 with a new aerodynamic design, completely new interior, new anti-lock rear brakes, and a lineup of power choices that should keep it America's best-selling truck for the 10th straight year.
You can go to the good times or work in the rough. When you're talking Ford truck, then you're talking tough. Ford's #1 now, and we mean to stay by building them better in every way. When tough men need tough trucks and goods not enough. America's truck is built for tough.
A holiday message from MasterCard.
Is that little something for me?
It's possible. What's in the bag?
No peeking.
Oh, I had one just like this as a kid.
So that's why you bought it.
MasterCard. Master the shopping possibilities at fine stores everywhere.
You're looking at shots of the Orange Bowl. In the background in the blue warm-up suit, the injured Vinny Testaverde. And this is his backup, senior Jeff Toretta, who has thrown 45 passes in the last 2 years for Miami. His job tonight, make the East Carolina Pirates walk the plank. East Carolina comes in as prohibitive underdogs. They're 2-8 against the 10-0 Hurricanes. Back to Dick and Merlin.
Who would have thought East Carolina's Pirates and Jeff Toretta would get so much national acclaim?
and a motor scooter
at the start of the year. Here at Seattle, forming a huge upset, 31-14. Robert Levette from Georgia Tech turns to the 30-yard line.
When you're hot, you're hot.
Well, Kurt Warner certainly has to thank John L. Williams for a great block on Bates. Watch as he blocks him to the outside. Right here, and Bates is going to lose his mouthpiece. Mouthpiece is flying out right there. Great block.
Well, you see that in boxing, a great right hand, and the mouthpiece flies. Here's Tony Dorsett, whipping out to the 48-yard line before Randy Edwards, the defensive lineman, can catch him from behind. 18 for Dorsett. But the clock working now against Dallas. 9:38 left. 31-14 the score. Warner, 104 yards. The Heisman tandem of Dorsett and Walker, a total of 96 yards. That last drive, 3 straight carries by Warner, 40 yards and a touchdown. That was a classic. Trying to get something quick. Screen Dorsett. Good blocking. But a fine defensive play made by Keith Butler. Fought off his block and denied Dorsett the long gainer. Dallas settles for 6.
Right now, the Dallas Cowboys need big yards. As you look at the total productivity of the Seahawks, almost to 400 on the day, and the Cowboys just above 200 on the day. Pelor, they've got to have him looking into the end zone. They need quick touchdowns here, not just little plays out to the backs in the flat.
Looking for Sherrard. Instead, they throw underneath to Walker. Gets out of bounds with the first down at the 41 of Seattle. Time now to look at the implications of this game. If Dallas should lose, it would take almost a miracle for the Cowboys to get in the playoffs. Seattle, suddenly, it would boost their hopes, although they certainly would have long-range hopes. If it stays the way it is, both teams will be 7-6. The other note worthy of acknowledging is the fact that Tom Landry has 20 consecutive winning seasons. Dallas, that's an all-time NFL record at 7-6 and a tough schedule ahead. Dallas is fighting to stay on the winning side. Pelor down the middle. Sherrard to the 23. First down with 8:20 left. 18 yards on the play.
Dave Craig has taken most of the headlines today, but Pelor right on target there.
Right in the middle, the linebackers will split, and Pelor does a good job of finding him in the middle of the zone. Just goes downfield, he looks around, not an outstanding, not a lot of character, just gets open.
Oops, that one thrown where a man, Cosby, was actually blocking on the play. That's an unusual situation. Cosby had his back to the quarterback, actually was warding off a couple of men, Young and Moyer.
Pelor has been under so much heat the past couple of weeks. 12 sacks, later reduced to 11 in the game against San Diego. 5 in last week's game. He's been better protected today, but mostly because of the style of defense that they have run against him. But he sure took a lick there from Keith Butler.
Cosby, who says, I can't understand why I'm getting so much national recognition. They were saying about everyone's watching me on TV. I said, no, it's the other Cosby show. That'll be later tonight. Valor going for 6 to Walker. And closer to the play was Patrick Hunter, Seattle defensive back. All right, let's look at the American Football Conference playoff situation. The 2 best records non-first place of the wild cards. You have the Jets, New England, Cincinnati and Cleveland, Denver, Raiders, Kansas City. Seattle would move to 7-6, keep their hopes alive. It's a scramble. Many feel the Raiders are the team, hottest team, and the team to watch. Denver, Cincinnati, Sunday on NBC is a huge game.
Just a footnote to that, the New England Patriots suiting up 37 players for this week's game. Talk about injuries.
And the Jets, look at them, crippled with what happened in Miami. 3rd and 10 for Pelor. Has a man open. Is he inbounds? No. Sherrard. Been a great play in the Canadian Football League. 4th and 10. And this becomes a must-play for Dallas. With 7:41 left, they have to get something out of this possession, trailing 31-14.
In a situation where you're fighting the clock, you really need the experience of that veteran quarterback. Pelor has been trained to make the good choices, and sometimes the good choices aren't going to get you into that end zone in a hurry. Danny White, of course, with that experience, would have a better chance in a situation like this.
White, while he was healthy, 4 games, he had the Cowboys over 30 points every game. Pelor. Incomplete on the pass. Seattle takes over on downs. Good deep defense by the Seattle Seahawks, who take over with 7:32 remaining in the 4th quarter. Fred Young was the man applying the pressure. The Dallas native has had a big game against the team that he rooted so very hard for on Thanksgivings of his high school past. It remains 31-14, upset-minded Seattle.
We're not a company.
But no company has more pride in what they do.
Or more pride in how well they do it.
We offer you a meaningful and fulfilling future.
One that goes far beyond the ordinary.
One that brings with it the respect and admiration of Americans everywhere.
We're not a company.
We're your country.
We're the Air Force.
The Marines.
The Army.
The Navy.
We're the Armed Forces.
It's a great place to start.
4 years ago, Ford Escort became the world's best-selling car. And over those years, we've improved its engine, suspension, and interior. There is one thing, however, we couldn't improve upon. For 4 years running, it's still the world's best-selling car. This is Escort.
Now, get 3.9% financing or $300 cash back from Ford.
To know no boundaries, to let yourself run free. To know no boundaries is what the world should be.
Wherever there are investment opportunities, Merrill Lynch is there with the help you need to make the most of them. Because at Merrill Lynch, we believe your world should know no boundaries.
To know no boundaries.
6 years ago, the Seahawks went home wounded, clipped 51-7 by Dallas, who held back in the second half. Today, they've come in as an underdog and lead 31-14, trying to win their first game. Tom Catlin, their defensive wizard. Go back and talk about Tom, your former defensive coach, Merlin. Warner to the 25. Catlin, really a chess-type man, very cerebral, a low personality profile, but what a worker.
He's a quiet man, and you better believe he's intense, but most of that shared with his players, as you see there, quick to get them off the field to say, all right, here's what we need to do. Here are the things to think about. A great detail man, and puts together a very innovative package, in particular on the long yardage. Of course, doing it all without a couple of key players, Easley and Jeff Bryant.
2nd and 8. 6:50 left. A lot of the Dallas fans are headed toward the Thanksgiving table. Ooh. Look at Warner breaking out of the tackle. 35-40. His fourth quarter has been all pro stuff. 19 more yards for Warner. Says, give me a break.
He said for the sideline, but how many times do you hear running backs say, the more I run, the better I get? It's a common theme that Dorsett has used. He said, I need to play more if I'm going to be effective. Of course, he's been injured, which is a point that Tom Landry will make very quickly in his defense.
With each first down, Tom Landry just kind of falls back on his heels a bit more, as this could be the season for the Cowboys. I'll show you why. We've got the NFC playoff picture for you. Williams hit by Randy White. Now let's go back. The last possession, the Kurt Warner show. 3 carries, 3 plays, 40 yards, a touchdown. Here they are all together.
Watch the acrobatic cuts, the hard cuts, the acceleration. That's the first of the 3. They were back to back.
14 yards, 17 yards, and 9 yards for the touchdown. 3 plays, 3 minutes, 6 points.
Again behind a good block by John L. Williams, and he is just driving people into that end zone. Oof.
2nd down and 9. John L. Williams. Well, that's a nice job by Ted Nathanson, our director, Larry Cirillo, our producer, to get those 3 plays all nailed together. Those of you who may have wandered away just to appreciate the greatness of one player, Kurt Warner, on one particular drive. Less than a minute left. Now let's look at the NFC playoff situation and what this means not only to the Cowboys but to those who fight with them. Giants and Washington, the loser there of the East is bound to be a wild card. Dallas would drop to 7 and 6. They're really battling with the bottom 2 teams. The loser of the West, the Rams or San Francisco. Now, the Cowboys do play the Rams in a couple of weeks. Now, they won't be totally buried, but the memorial services are being planned.
Well, it's a day of some long faces here in Irving, Texas. There's a not too happy Cowboy. I'll tell you, there's one not too happy Cowboy on the far sideline, Tom Landry, who felt that his team was embarrassed last week up in Washington, told his team that, and I think really believed that they would bounce back with an outstanding game today. You see the little shake of the head right there as Landry looks up at the scoreboard. I don't think he can believe that his Cowboys have played this badly in back-to-back games.
Warner ducking under Randy White. Boy, White has certainly been one Cowboy who continues to be a force defensively. He's been in on the last 3 tackles. But the clock runs. 3:28, 3:27. Oh, it's going to be a tough turkey for a lot of devoted fans here in Texas. Over 200 yards rushing for Seattle today.
Well, you had to know that they would try and exploit the rushing defense of the Cowboys. They've been giving up an average of 4.4 yards per carry on the rush. It's got to be tempting for you.
Drawing a crowd. Bates and Jeffcoat, White there too. Well, you played here, what, 1971 the Rams played in the Thanksgiving game?
71. The first year that this stadium was open, Dick, we came in to play the Cowboys, lost in a very close game, 28-21. But that Cowboy team was in the middle of what went on to be a 10-game winning streak. They ended up in New Orleans, matched against our other fan here, Bob Greasy, and the Miami Dolphins. And Bob, what happened in that game?
Thanks for reminding me. I'd wiped that from my memory. I think it's the longest sack in Super Bowl history. Bob Willie got me for, 29 yards or something.
But, as I recall, the next year was rather pleasant for you and the Dolphins.
Well, it was. The next 2 years were good.
Bob, we talked about Craig, about his being sacked earlier in the year. In your experience as a quarterback and watching these two quarterbacks today, really both of them trying to put their confidence together. Craig trying to put his confidence back together. And on the other side of the line, Pelluer just trying to find himself as a young quarterback.
David Craig has played today like he played in 1984. The entire Seahawks team, Merlin, it's reminiscent of what they did in 1984. Offensively, they're back to running the football and then spicing in some David Craig passes. And defensively, they've played very well. And on the other side, Pelluer, he's a third-year quarterback. He's going to have some problems.
Just a question about Steve Pelluer. He talked about how little time there was for him to make those choices. He said, I get back there, all I've got is bodies coming at me. I've got to choose whether I'm going to throw the pass, whether I'm going to throw it away, or whether I'm going to run. He said, it seems like it's all happening too fast.
Well, it is happening right fast for him right now, and with a little experience and a little confidence, that will all fall into place, and then there'll be a day when it all looks like it's going in slow motion, and he'll be the king of it.
Something we talked about earlier. Great quarterbacks sometimes talk about slowing time down, having time back there. Did you feel like that clock slowed down when you were on?
Thanksgiving Day game in 1977 against the Cardinals, we blew them out 54-15 or something. That day, everything was in slow motion except our offense. We have some days like that, but not many.
Randall Morris breaks a tackle in the backfield and then gets to the 47-yard line where time is called with 2:29 left. Let's go back and look at Chuck Knox as he watches action here late minutes of the fourth quarter.
I told you that Knox would not hide his emotion at all. He doesn't. He's a very physical, a very expressive, an eye-to-eye, gut-level kind of guy, and he communicates that to his players on the sideline and in the meetings. He's also, I think, one of the least popular officials in the league with those fellows in the striped shirts because he shares a few words with them, too.
Dr. Chuck Knox received his honorary doctorate at his alma mater, Juniata of Pennsylvania, and he's a golf fan, too. And he'll have Saturday off and Sunday to watch the Skins game with those of you at home. Fuzzy Zeller, Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Lee Trevino, Hall of Fame golfers going for the big dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, as they play the Skins game. Every hole has its drama. We hope you'll be with us 3:30 Eastern Time for the 86th edition of the Skins game. And then, of course, on Sunday, along with the finale of that, you'll see some terrific NFL action, important to the playoff picture with 4 games to go. We'd want to thank, while we have a moment, our crew here in the booth, Joe Costanza, Doug Adams, Jared Bell, Jerry Cohen, Mitch Lewis, for their help giving up their Thanksgiving Day to help us along, as Seattle now will have to punt.
Well, they indeed got the line through the wrong section of that sign. Seahawks for lunch or for dinner? No way today.
Gordon Banks at the 16-yard line with 2:21 left. And now it's a matter of just trying to make the score more cosmetically pleasant for the Cowboys. They trail 31-14.
Somebody I know that's very happy about the way this game has turned. Chuck's wife, Shirley, back in Seattle, had a knee operation, has been off that leg for a while, just starting rehabilitation. Chuck said, here I am worried about putting a team back together, and I've got to worry about a rehabilitation schedule for Shirley to get her fixed up.
I asked him what he said to Shirley when she was injured, and he said, sympathetically, don't go to the net anymore.
She hurt herself playing tennis then, as you might guess. But a nice lady, and I'm sure she is thrilled, as are all the fans who follow these Hawks and are glad to see them pulling their way out. And they have done it today.
We're going to see them again the last weekend of the season against Denver. They're going to be pesky at the very worst. Good catch by Mike Renfro, his first of the day, a 20-yard play. Dallas will hurry, try to get one more play in before the 2-minute warning. But they don't. They do not beat the 2-minute timeout. Yeah, they're stringing the bow. tomorrow in Seattle. And the melody will be upsetting only to the Cowboys.
Alcoa presents Fantastic Finishes. 1984. The Bears lead the Chargers 7-6 as Dan Fouts dumps a quickie off to Bobby Duckworth at the 50. Oh, he's quick and he's on his way to the go-ahead touchdown. Hold it. He drops the ball. And Mike Richardson pounces on it. Duckworth is beside himself. Moments later, he and Fouts put together the longest TD pass play in Charger history. 88 yards into the end zone, and this time with the ball.
Thank you, America, for doing all you can. Thank you, America, for lending them a hand. For helping out, then pitching in. For coming through, you make it work for them.
Find out who raises money through recycling and save your cans for them. Aluminum beverage cans today, aluminum food containers tomorrow.
Thank you, America. Recycle all you can.
Well, our Budweiser most valuable player, and I know he's a man who appreciates it because he knows the penthouse and the bottom side, the basement of life and football. Dave Craig started sensationally, a near perfectly executed first half, ran for a touchdown on a quarterback draw, threw for 2 other scores, led Seattle to 4 scores in their 4 first half possessions. His numbers for the entire game, 214 yards, misfired on only 7. And a couple of touchdowns.
The ability to come back. I think that's one of the things that makes this game of football so great. You can get stepped on and stomped on and turned over and cussed and come back and turn it all around. Dave Craig certainly has done that, and my hat's off to him up here.
And I must say that, if anything, if I thought the final score this morning would be 31-14, I would have thought the other way around. It seemed all the emotion was on the Dallas side. Ballure. Eugene Robinson covering Tony Hill. All right, the rest of the season for these two teams, it's not only important to their fans, but fans of teams that are battling with these teams for playoff spots. Seattle will host the Raiders and will have 10 days to prepare for the enemies from the south. Then they go to San Diego, finish at home on a Saturday against Denver. And they're still alive at 7-6. Not unlike the year 3 seasons ago when they were in about the same spot and they closed fast and everything fell right. The set jaw of Steve Diassi tells you the story there. The Cowboys go to the Rams. I'll finish that after this play. Complete to Renfro at the 48-yard line, maybe the 49, a first down. The hurry-up offense for Dallas. They have Philadelphia here at home, and then they finish the season with the Bears at home. But it'll really take some special things to happen for the Cowboys to be included. In fact, this may just be it for them. Rams and San Francisco would almost have to lose every game, both teams, and they play each other, so someone has to win that one.
It's interesting.
Timeout with 1 minute, 27 seconds left. Seattle starting to celebrate this holiday.
This bud's for all that you do.
It could be any time now.
No, Bill had to leave. Can I help you?
A friend is counting on you.
We need copies by 4:30.
I'll cover it for you.
Not a word.
You keep on coming through, 'cause you make America work, and this bud's for you.
Here's to you, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
This bud's for you.
It's in the look. It's in the feel. It's in the wind. Thunderbird has changed. This is the new design. This is the new Thunderbird.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
1 minute, 27 seconds left. It's a first down play for Ballure. Incomplete to Tony Hill. Ball was a little late getting there, and Eugene Robinson knocked it away. NFL 86, On Sunday at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 in the West, football's answer to Evel Knievel. Vinny Testaverde will explain his actions of yesterday. And, of course, what it might be happening right now as Miami and East Carolina go. And Miami a win. They're a heavy favorite even without Testaverde. Looking for a showdown against Penn State January 2nd, a Friday night here on NBC. Ahmad Rashad visits the Bears. I don't know what zoo he goes to, but he'll have all of that. You never know about Ahmad. And Frank DeFord and Paul McGuire with their special look at pro football. And then a lot of outstanding, important games for you on NBC Sunday. We'll get a chance to watch more.
We definitely will. Oh, Tarkenton whirl there.
Was he in bounds? No. Tony Hill trying to stay in bounds, but couldn't get both in. 1:10 left. Well, it's a day where Seattle, their two big-name players, Kurt Warner gains over 100, and he took over the second half. Really his ground game, chewing up the clock, so important after Craig had really set the pattern. Steve Largent, in case you joined us late, 3 catches, 1 for a touchdown. 136 games now in a row for the magician, Steve Largent.
I mentioned early in our broadcast that Chuck Knox says to his teams, we need to find a way to win. You lean on your main men. In that case, Craig has come through, Largent has come through, and Warner has come through beautifully today.
Fleur to Renfro, and what a catch by Renfro, the little wide receiver of the Cowboys, who stole it away from 2 defenders, a 22-yard play. Well, the Cowboys trying to at least get 7 more. 47 seconds left. Fleur underneath to Walker. Walker down at the 9-yard line.
Cowboys this last week after the Washington game, in a short week, didn't even bother to look at the film. In a long week, they're going to have to look at this one, and it's not going to be very pleasant for them. I think they expected to bounce back. You talk to them, you just had the feeling this was going to be their day, but it's turned out to be a Seahawk day all the way through.
Well, again, it's such an unusual experience for Cowboys and their fans. They'd won 9 of their last 10 on Thanksgiving, and then the week after Thanksgiving, building on that momentum, 16-2. In fact, it has been such a record, 30 wins and 5 losses in that combination.
2-week period. Such a critical
that
period.
That
in the
other coaches
season.
and owners say, hey, it's an unfair advantage for Dallas to have the Thanksgiving home game.
I think you'll see that change. I think you'll see that change. I think they'll push to have that change in the future.
This is a 3rd down and 4 play. Almost intercepted by Paul Moyer. So last call for the Cowboys, 4th down, 17 seconds left. 17. Number worn by our most valuable player, Dave Craig. Well, Bob Greasy, were you surprised?
Well, I mentioned a little earlier in the broadcast, Dick, I thought the attitude of the players coming in would tell in a short week like this. Obviously, Seattle came in with nothing to lose and everything to gain, and the pressure was on the Cowboys. They could not lose this one after the embarrassment at Washington. And I think the attitude of Seattle players was a lot looser.
Tony Hill can't quite latch on as Gene Robinson was on the coverage. And on the 4th down play, it's Seattle taking over with 11 seconds. Dave Craig needs only to take 1 snap, and this game is over.
There's a story in that statistic. Kurt Warner and John L. Williams both outperforming Walker and Dorsett on the day.
But in fairness to Dorsett and Walker, and it showed in the way they ran, not so much Dorsett, but Walker, they're not healthy. I mean, Walker did not run like the Herschel Walker we saw earlier.
And the reality, too, Dick, and it's also fair to say that when you are coming from behind, you cannot really run the football. You've got to throw the football.
And now the final seconds will tick away, and Chuck Knox and the Seahawks will go home a happy crew. They're 7-6. The Cowboys season possibly over. Also now 7-6.
And in a game that may have as many repercussions for next year as it does for the rest of this season, it's a happy Chuck Knox and a very tight-jawed Tom Landry.
Well, they may have turkey on most of the tables in Seattle, but in the Knox household, thanks to Kurt Warner, ground chuck will be just fine. Thank you. Stay tuned on NBC this holiday night. We hope you'll spend it with Bill Cosby and the family, special guest star Stevie Wonder, then Family Ties, Cheers, Night Court, Hill Street Blues. For Bob Greasy and Merlin Olsen, this is Dick Enberg. Happy Thanksgiving.
A promotional fee has been paid to NBC by United Airlines, serving 13 cities in Asia and the Pacific. United, a fresh breeze across the Pacific.
This has been a presentation of NBC Sports, proud to be the network of the 1988 Summer Olympic Games.